Well, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Red Spotlight Entertainment. I'm your host, Alexis, joined by Kyle Lira, the creator of this podcast and network, and, of course, Alexis Moreno, here for the 414th episode of this show that talks about films and the movie industry, and a big emphasis this week on Hollywood. We went to Hollywood and did Hollywood things, including seeing John Williams in concert. We went to the Academy Museum and even saw Jaws, the original blockbuster, in IMAX for Cinema Day. All that here and more, including the latest recap of House of the Dragon, right now. Episode number 414. Guys, how are you? How have you been?
Thank you for adding the creator of this podcast.
Oh my god.
And network. I said podcast and network, which includes, if I'm not mistaken, a new show, right?
Yeah.
Which includes our David Francisco.
Quest Center. I actually listened to the first episode.
It was really good.
Frank. Yeah, David and Sergio, you guys did a fantastic fucking job. I loved it. You know, honestly, like it's like listening. You know, it's like listening to your little. It's like listening to your little boy grow up and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh, he's hosting his own little show. It's so nice. I was just like looking. I'm like, wow, look at you go. And Sergio was on it. Like the chemistry, like obviously, like there's years of history, you know, of Sergio, you know, being friends of the family with you Morenos, as it were. But it was really nice hearing them too. I mean, it's like they're picking up, like basically just picking up where they left off, kind of thing, and just, you know, shooting the shit. And it was nice. You already had the established chemistry in there. They just had to talk about shit. And
just to review here, this is a brand new podcast. It just debuted this past week. You can catch it wherever you listen to podcasts on our same.
Not yet. So far, it's only on the Castbox feed and the and on YouTube. But at
some point, it will move on.
It will
to
eventually
all the
be
other
on.
ones.
You know, I got to work on that. But
that's fine. And then just in case, and this is very last minute, it came. You know, it literally just dropped when we were in Hollywood, so there was no time, no way to advance or like prepare for like, oh, this is what's going to be happening. It is a game podcast, right?
Yes.
Yeah, a gaming podcast. It's nice.
Yes. They won't be like streaming or anything. Hopefully, maybe in the future they will. But as of right now, they're just talking about games, game releases.
That's good.
The thing that they have going for them is that David doesn't really play games and Sergio does play games, and David just got a PS5, so he's kind of like playing these for the first time, whereas Sergio already knows it.
He's experienced.
Yeah.
Which, like, I like that, you know, dynamic, you know, and the way that they're kind of leading each other through, you know, through this thing. It's interesting. I want to talk to him about the whole thing because I play games. I play games here on this. You know,
are you trying to crash the podcast, Kyle?
I'm not saying I will. I mean, I will. You know, I am the creator of this network. So
God.
I could go on whatever I fucking please here on this. On this podcast stuff. So yeah, no, I'm not gonna like steal the limelight. I just want to talk about like stuff.
I'm sure they love to have you. If you're a gamer yourself, I just didn't know you were that into games.
Well, I'm not as like hardcore as like Sergio is. Do you know a certain game? It's called Pac-Man. You know, you chase little ghosts. You get the cherry and it's all good. No, but like I've played games since I was a young lad. And you know, I've completed a game or two, you know. So I particularly like when they discuss like the Mario games, the Rockstar games, and what's it called? Not Rockstar, and compared to like the with the guitar controller, I mean like the Grand Theft Autos and Red Dead Redemptions, that kind of Rockstar games.
Oh yes, Kyle mentioned to me that he got a lot of catharsis off murdering many people on Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, it's great. It's great
that was
therapy.
A big conversation this weekend. A topic of conversation this weekend.
Murdering people?
I know. Yeah. No. Wait, was it? No. Wait. No.
No, you have lost.
Jeez.
No, but
God.
But Red Dead Redemption, those games, Grand Theft Auto is fantastic.
So it's good to hear that they're got the first podcast and it was a success. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I wish I had time to listen to it. I'll set aside some time to listen to that. But it's not the only one out there, right? What was the most recent Turn to Page episode for you guys?
Oh yeah, Moreno, that's your domain. Sorry.
We finished book 2, and we just did the audio commentary for Chamber of Secrets. So
Really? Okay.
that was fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be. It is a fun movie.
It is. And then we're gonna start book 3 soon. I haven't told them what date, but we'll start it soon.
And then moving over to Fantasy Fair Podcast, where I would expect a full-blown overview of the current D23 Expo happening in Anaheim with Kyle and Alexis Moreno. Some of which we'll talk about in the form of trailers in this podcast, but of course all of the more intricate details will be further explored in that next episode. And I believe one of the more recent episodes was talking about their favorite animated films in the 60 Disney animated lineup, which from what I remember was almost 3 hours. Oh, and a shout out, of course, to not just fans. It's amazing how some of our biggest fans become hosts on this network. So Sergio, I was just thinking of, messaged me and was...
it's like, honestly... rhyming with the conversation that we're going to have later, this podcast is much like Hollywood itself. You only fail upwards.
Sergio messaged me and was very entertained and captivated by what is, at least to my understanding, the longest episode we've ever recorded, 4.5 hours. A few weeks ago, and so he requested more 4-hour podcasts. So, okay, guys, we gotta make up for some lost time. It seems like.
God.
Yep. So that is proof. People out there do love 4-hour podcasts. So,
Sergio, I will hunt you down and gut you like a fish.
Where's that from, Kyle?
Somewhere.
Okay. Well. Are you still salty about the time years ago we made you explain where your references come from? That was like 2017. Are you still are you still salty about that?
Yes.
I can see it on your face. It's like, how dare he ask me to explain where my references come from?
I don't know where half of them come from, so...
Exactly! And I'm sorry, does it take that much effort on your part to explain what you're referencing
if
from?
I have to explain it,
Maybe
it's
I'll
not that
laugh.
funny.
And I didn't mean that in a mean way. Sorry. I mean, maybe if I know what you're talking about.
I got it. It's the fucking Grinch.
Well, thank you. Maybe now I can place it. But I'm sorry, but all of us are old now. We've seen so much crap. How am I going to sit through in the middle of a podcast to cipher through all the things you ever watched and figure out, oh, this is where this came from?
It's that scene when, he was going through his voicemail. He's like, maybe I left on the star key. And then he, pressed his voicemail and he's like, if you utter just one syllable, I'll hunt you down and gut you like a fish.
Okay.
That's what it's from.
Okay.
You see, if I have to explain it, it's not funny.
But then it makes sense instead of it just being confusing for some of us. I can see both ways. Anywho, we should also address that we had 2 important birthdays for our crew members today, as a matter of fact, which is September the 9th, 2022, right now, this recording, is David's birthday. David Francisco, of course, who's been pulling overtime, making many appearances on Red Spotlight, as well as now co-hosting his own podcast. A very happy birthday to him. And then, of course, lest we forget, Alexis just celebrated her 900th birthday on August 27th.
You fucking
so
Yoda
very
ass.
Very happy unbirthdays to all of you. And I think
What
that's
reference is that from?
Alice in Underland. I said Underland to annoy some of you. Hopefully that did it. If not, oh well. Yeah, it's from Alice in Wonderland.
You're just as dim-witted as I last remember, as far as I recall.
Do
We
not
used to
even
call
get
it
me started on
Wonderland.
dim-witted. The things that I've been exposed to wouldn't even scratch the surface of dim-wittedness. Anyway, let's go ahead and start by trashing Disney.
Talk
Anyway,
about salty.
Well, I mean, speaking of dim-wittedness, somewhere or some executive thought it was a good idea to do a remake of Pinocchio. And if you've looked at the reviews, by the way, the film is already out. Disney Plus Day happened. It was a special event. Of course, concurring with D23. The movie came out. I have no intention of seeing it. None of us. Well, I don't, but I never did. But I was curious to see what the reaction would be. And if I'm being totally honest, it's a lot worse than I thought it would be. I just usually think with these movies, it'll get a lot of nice and cute reviews. Like, Lightyear got a lot of cute reviews. But again, that suggests there was nothing there to say. And what happened? I literally forgot the movie even happened several times this year. So I think that's what we were getting ourselves into. But upon further reflection, it seems as if a lot of the reviews have come out swinging hard and vicious against the movie. And I know Kyle has seen he knows how it ends, but I have seen some clips from the movie. And I mean, again, we are talking about a remake of the 1942 timeless classic Pinocchio, one of the best films ever made. Not just animated films, but one of the most timeless movies of all time. So much so that for those of you who loved the film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind was kind of a, sort of a linchpin, if you will, for the character in that movie. And that was a film that was, I don't know, at least 30, 35 plus years after Pinocchio even came out originally. Suffice to say, of course, the idea of a remake to a film like this is not at all something that any of us, I would say, at least for me, I don't know how you two were enthused by. And then we have it now, and there is references to influencers in the movie. There is a Chris Pine joke. There is a third act that is literally ripped from every third act superhero blockbuster. I think at one point Pinocchio becomes Dash from The Incredibles. With it, apparently develops super speed. I am not kidding. These clips are out there. This is not. I'm not even exaggerating. This is
Moreno shaking her head like this is true. Is this true?
Yes. When he's on the boat and he starts pedaling with his feet.
Shut the fuck up.
And then the scene
God.
where he's meeting Gordon, I think that's his name, and the fox and the other animal thing. They say like you could become a star, you could become blah blah blah, or even
an influencer. That's what an influencer. That's how it was. Yeah. All of these things I said literally happen in the film.
It makes the tweeting joke in Moana subtle.
If it ever was, but I think you're right in that regard. But that's just scratching the surface. There was even, and I think Peter's reaction to this was, and I quote, "This may be the single most embarrassing thing Disney has ever done," in reference to the opening of the movie. So you know how in the original film, of course, Geppetto has this like wall of like clocks.
I saw this clip. I saw this fucking
I didn't
clip.
see this.
Okay, all the clocks that are on Geppetto's like wall is all IP based. So you have Woody.
Oh no.
Sleeping Beauty.
Maleficent is there. You have
Yeah.
It just goes on and on and on. It was as if like you stepped into like a clock store at Disneyland and like you're there browsing for merchandise. That's exactly what it looked like. And I bet you they might even sell those clocks now somewhere at Disneyland.
No. It's just, I think this whole thing is just embarrassing. And then again, like,
This is dope, by the way.
like when the poster for the movie came out and everything, and I can't remember like the timeline, but like then you see Guillermo del Toro's movie, and it's like, bro.
And all we have is a trailer. And all we have is a trailer, and it's like it doesn't even compare to that trailer for the Del Toro Pinocchio, which is coming out later this year in December.
Oh
Mark your
my
calendars,
God.
folks.
You know,
Like,
I saw a tweet where somebody said, I tried watching the new Pinocchio movie. Jiminy Cricket uttered 4 words, said no, turned it off, and walked into the sea. It's atrocious. Even the fucking ending is so fucking dumb. Oh, the beer that they drink on Pleasure Island, it's root beer now.
Oh my God. I saw the clip where the kid turns into a donkey. That looks so ugly.
Well, and not just that, the whole thing. There's like this weird tint
Yeah.
or filter in the daylight sequences that screeches like artificial lighting because of the heavy VFX on
Yeah.
Pinocchio and some of the other characters
and why did
that
they
are fully
make
animated.
Him look like a cartoon? That's my.
Because nostalgia.
But it just doesn't.
It doesn't look right.
It
you know,
doesn't.
Like the look on. Okay. As much as I hate on the Beauty and the Beast remake, like Cogsworth looks like what it would be like if they
they looked like
translated.
how they would look. They fit with the movie.
Yeah, but like, what the hell? Like they're like, it's just flat eyes, just flat painted eyes. They could have just like made it like detailed, like carved eyes. I don't know.
on this note, Kevin Fallon from the Daily Beast actually put this quite succinct to what you were talking about just now. The sight of this cartoon version of Pinocchio frolicking through a real world with actual humans is as bizarre as, well, if you looked outside right now and saw a cartoon version of Pinocchio frolicking through the real world with actual humans. There is an image from early in the film of Pinocchio curiously reaching out his hand to touch a pile of horse manure. It is seared into my brain forever.
That just says it all right there. That just there
was one instance though, real quick, and I haven't seen too many others discuss this, but this comes from William Bibiani. Hey Disney, if you change the scene where Pinocchio lies and it makes his nose grow, and make it so that lies are the only way to save himself from danger, you completely screwed up your message. You can't say honesty is a virtue while treating lies like a superpower.
Stop. Oh
They
my God.
They fucked this up every way imaginable.
And that's not the worst part about it either. I mean, the thing is that, like, I mean, again, I haven't read it. I mean, I've seen it, but I've read everywhere that in the original Pinocchio, the main point is that Pinocchio keeps on making mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, he keeps on making mistakes. Here in this version, he just stumbles upon random events.
It's like they don't know their own stories.
It's
well,
like
not even
it's
their own
it's
stories
that
or their own movies, if that's what they're basing it off of.
At this point, it's going toe to toe with the remake of The Lion King.
I mean, when you so misunderstand to that extent the point of the movie, what else can you point to? I mean, what other comparison can you point to? Like, let's give Jon Favreau, you know, the credit he deserves. He's so uniquely messed up The Lion King. I think it'll go down in the history books. Like, he completely annihilated everything about what made The Lion King special in his version and turned it into Star Wars, his version of Star Wars, turned it into like his version of movies where it's like, it means absolutely nothing and it's just all about the legacy and the legends and the stars and the story, you know, is just non-existent. And this is just, the thing is, I know Robert Zemeckis, like, technically speaking, is the director here, but like, and granted, of course, his recent track record of films haven't been that great, but this is what happens when Disney executives decide to make a movie for themselves and like steer the creative direction. Because, and I think this is particularly embarrassing, more so than usual, because it really does show that these executives at Disney either are incompetent filmmakers or are so incompetent they literally do not understand the point of their own stories.
Or even worse, don't care.
Yeah. Or they don't care and they think less of us. And that we're just going to eat it up no matter what.
What's more insulting to boot is this is a Walt creation as well, you know? I mean, this is the first time they're tampering into something that, well, not the first time, but, like, this is, like, earlier in Walt's career where he was trying and figuring things out. And in that case, you know, Pinocchio was all the much better for it, you know? And the move, Pinocchio took risks, you know, it had powerful messaging with its imagery of children literally turning into jackasses in the movie, you know? And so, like, I think it's a bigger insult to the legacy of Walt and the animators who worked on this in the 40s. And it's just, it hurts a little bit. It hurts a little bit because that's how far removed this company is from its own. Yeah. And I think that that's the biggest crime that Pinocchio has with it is the fact that it's so removed from what it once was, you know, and what it once was probably it's one of the best animated movies, period.
People still reference it to this day, like, and not in like a movie way, in an artistic way.
Right. It's a milestone, you know?
The water. People reference the water in Pinocchio to reference their own water animation still to this day. You know, I mean, it's just one of those things that have, you know, impact and, you know, and I hate to bring up the word legacy because it's been such like bogged down, but the legacy is important of Pinocchio, and to not understand that legacy to begin with,
from the people who made it like that.
I don't know if you guys follow Houston Colley on Twitter, but he had a great thread of like basically live reacting with the clips that he saw to this movie. And again, it's really not hard to tear this movie apart. The film does that for you. But like, he was sharing clips of Alan Silvestri's score of this Pinocchio, and it sounded like straight something out of the Avengers or Captain America.
I just feel like this story and the way that Disney has made this story visually, it's so easy to make.
Right.
And it's like they said, nope, let's do the complete opposite.
And it would be one thing if they chose to do a different version of the story, but of course it's still very much like copycatting off of their movie, off of the 1942 film. Well, I mean, it's the same, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it would have been
hardly as in like it's nowhere near the quality of it, but of course they use that. They have to get into things in there to nostalgia bait you. But then look at Del Toro's version of it. Look how completely different that felt.
Yeah.
And
then,
still like core to what the story is.
like, I remember that personally, I don't like Pinocchio. Like, it creeps me out. And it's not like a movie that I go to often, if any at all.
It's creepy as fuck.
Yes. And a lot of it had to do with that live action movie with Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
JTT.
But like, you remember that movie too because it had such a specific style that also kind of meshed together with the animated one. And
The Disney,
even Del Toro's, like, they all fit together but are so different from each other. Whereas this one is just like, how? Like, how?
You know what's funny is that this isn't the first time that Disney's remade Pinocchio. I don't know if you remember this, but long time ago, back in I think like the late 90s, Drew Carey played a Geppetto and Julia Louis-Dreyfus played the Blue Fairy, and it was part of the Wonderful World of Disney when Michael Eisner was doing that whole bit. And there's a movie called Geppetto. I don't know if you remember that, but Disney's already remade it, you know? And as far as my recollection is concerned, like, that captured some sort of semblance of whatever made that version of Pinocchio important. Also, for the longest time, I thought the Jonathan Taylor Thomas film was a Disney property.
Yeah.
I thought that was a Disney movie. I thought they were just like remaking like how they did the Jungle Book.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought that's what they did. Turns out it's not. But because it was so much in just visually, it was so much in spirit with the template that Disney laid. I thought it was just another Disney product, but it wasn't.
Well, look, I think we can all agree at this point that this film ended up being exactly what we thought it was going to be, if not worse. I think a lot of us have already been shocked in this conversation to the extent of how bad it was from various different perspectives. I mean, just in the movie itself. So with that being said, I mean, for me, let me just say this. As somebody who quite consistently criticizes the critical consensus most often with a lot of these movies, I'm very thankful now, at long last, with how vicious they're being, because I think at this point, the mean-spiritedness is warranted. It's been so many of these films now where they come out and they are what they are, and they're crap, let's face it, most of them. And for the longest time, they were way too nice. Go back and read the reviews for Lion King 2019, and look how nice they were to everybody involved. But now, I think it's like they've long since caught on, and going forward, at least my hope is that a lot of the favor that was extended to them, or a lot of the goodwill, won't be there as much. That's the hope, anyway.
Also, here's something I want to note before you go on. I think Lion King had the benefit of it being so recent into people's minds in terms of like time dilation, because you had the Lion King, it came out in 1994. Pinocchio came out in 1940. So in terms of like where it is in the pop culture zeitgeist, God, I sound fucking pretentious, but here we go. The way that it is in the pop, like not many people are looking at Pinocchio the same way people are looking at the Lion King. So I feel like the nostalgia factor isn't strong like the
basically
Lion King
the
was.
Nostalgia armor isn't there when it
Yeah.
comes to the reviews, as it would be for anything else, and I think that's true to an extent. But then again comes in, as we're gonna segue into something that's very related, the teaser trailer for The Little Mermaid. It is no secret that The Little Mermaid is a beloved movie the world over, particularly with Disney fans named Alexis in this chat. It is also no secret that for this Alexis in particular, I've hated many of the remakes, and so the idea, I've long dreaded this day that we're quickly approaching, which is the release of this remake. Only because
it's your turn now.
Yeah. Basically, right? It's our turn now. And
no,
look,
it's literally
like,
your turn now.
Oh yeah,
mine
it
was
is my
Alice.
turn.
Kyle already got his.
Right. Oh, that's right. Kyle, you got yours. It's time for mine. And look, it's like Rob Marshall, he's not a bad director, but he has a certain flair and, an interesting track record. I happen to enjoy Mary Poppins Returns, but I don't think it's that great. I happen to find moments of On Stranger Tides entertaining, but on the whole, it doesn't stay with me, although I enjoyed it, in its own right. I know, of course, Rob Marshall, directed many other things, of course, but just for those recent Disney outings, now he has this film, Little Mermaid, with... Yes, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, Rob Marshall got damn close to the magic that Gore Verbinski laid down, far more than those that made a Dead Man Tell No Tales.
Yes, I think the fourth one was closer than the fifth one, but the fifth one, well, everybody was not in the best, I think, environment to produce anything good. If you know what we're talking about there,
it was the don't worry, darling of the
my
time.
God.
Jesus Christ, let's not go there. But basically, that's true. Anyway, and of course, Lin-Manuel writing 4 new songs, as was confirmed for the movie. Okay, sure. I mean, he's a great songwriter. I mean, we all kind of, for me, I groan like, oh my God, again, Lin-Manuel. But every time it's like, well, fuck, he writes such good songs.
He proves you wrong.
Every time. And so it's like, every time. But again, I would feel a lot better if Lin were directing this, just because I'm curious to see where he's going.
I feel the same way, because it is no secret. Like, if you are a Hamilton fan, if you are a Lin-Manuel fan, you know that The Little Mermaid is as passionate about it as we are.
Yeah.
He's, like, Alan Menken is, like, top, like, inspirations for him. Literally,
yes.
Like, when he got Moana, he was like, I get to make The Little Mermaid again. Just the opposite.
And his fucking kid is named Sebastian.
Yes, like, he loves this movie. I don't understand why they didn't have him as a director. I mean, I get... No, I don't. I don't understand why they didn't get him as a director. I get the music, like, that's fine, but he should.
It's likely maybe he was busy filming Tick Tick Boom or something, or, Lin's a busy guy. He's working on so many projects. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for why, like... or being involved with the production of In the Heights, or writing the songs for Encanto. He works on, or didn't he also have an animated movie out last year?
Vivo.
That he directed, like, just in Vivo, yeah. So it's like, the man is so busy. So I understand that.
You know what was like? It convinced me that this movie has a fighting chance. Is is the fact that I remember somebody saying that Lin is in his study, and when they mean I study, he is going like front to back over Howard Ashman's handwritten notes for The Little Mermaid, like front to back on how to approach.
But you see, that tells me the music has a chance, and the music might have a chance to like be independent of its own film and be great in its own right because of who's involved.
Uh-huh.
You have Alan Menken, you have Lin-Manuel. But in the hands of Marshall and Disney, I can only expect so much.
Yeah.
When their recent collaborations are, again, films that I think are enjoyable in their own right, but nowhere near as good as I feel they could have been in the case of Pirates 4 and Mary Poppins Returns, I don't think that gives me any kind of indication that I'm going to expect
Don't forget
greatness.
Into the Woods.
Into the Woods.
He did that?
Yeah.
All of his excitement went out the window.
I wasn't excited though. Well, thinking, no, I'm not. I'm
like
not excited.
A semblance
I'm
of hope.
nervous.
Whatever hope, if you had any hope whatsoever, it's completely gone.
But there
now.
wasn't though. It's like, I mean, I don't mean to trash these people. I think they're passionate in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
But with the added benefit of remembering that Into the Woods exists and having seen how awful it was, it only, I feel, strengthens the point that I'm making, and that is you can only expect this to be so good in the track record of both of their collaborations together in the studio and in the track record of the crap that have been the live action remakes. I mean, the trailer came out and it's the same thing, it's the same thing as all the other, teaser trailers were. It's banking off the success of, you hear the score, you see the visuals,
it's literally
but
the
like
trailer for the animated movie.
Yeah, and it's I'm a little tired of it. I just roll my eyes throughout the entire thing, and I think, again, look, I know a lot of people are not thinking of this. They should, but they're not. But all I can think of is like, wow, you brought this to life as if it were like, real life and live action, but you've only just diminished everything about it. Like, you just made it feel that much smaller. And it wasn't small to begin with. It was grand.
Yeah.
That's the power that animation gives you. And the fact that this comes from the studio that pretty much birthed the medium of animation makes this even more infuriating, how they continuously don't understand this at all. And I mean, to an extent, maybe you understand why they feel this way when so many of their fans are like, oh my God, it's everything I knew, but it's real. And it's like, then the films come out, they make a lot of money, but then after they're done in theaters,
you had a Donald Trump twinge to what you were saying.
The man has pizzazz. What can I say? Look, the point is, these films come out, people go and pay money to watch them, and they never talk about them ever again as if they never existed. They have no impact whatsoever. As Kyle said, the pop culture zeitgeist. So, I don't know. I mean, what's her name? Halle Berry? Halle Bailey? Halle Bailey?
Halle Bailey? Halle Bailey.
Yeah.
She's
Haley,
yeah, she sings.
It's Halle Bailey.
Halle Bailey.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, this is it's not a complete carbon copy of what Ariel was.
Do you know what I remembered today?
What?
That Melissa McCarthy is Ursula.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God.
And she's gonna have supposed on-screen chemistry with Javier Bardem.
Just walked away.
I think you destroyed him, Moreno. Why did you do that? I shouldn't have mentioned Into the Woods.
That was funny. I mentioned it earlier, but I don't think you guys heard me. I went into the woods.
Into the Woods. Wow. Oh, so yeah. So I don't know. Like I mean, again, like I felt something when I was watching the trailer. Yeah.
I sent a message, and that is literally exactly how I feel. This movie looks the way that I expected it to.
Uh-huh.
And that's that. Her voice sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But it makes me sad that people get excited over these movies being live action and saying it's real, because it's not. It's still not. And animation is real. I don't know. Like, we have it. We see it. It's there. And it just, I don't know.
Whoever was the Max Landis responsible for saying that animation is only for kids, I hope they're dying blissfully in hell right now.
Well, some people are.
Yeah, and it's just it's painful because like yeah, her singing the song "Part of Your World" sounds fantastic, but also like in the back of your mind you're like, where's Jodie Benson?
Not even that.
I just feel like
not even that. Critiquing the trailer in like a movie by itself, it looks really dark. It looks you could hardly see anything.
I just want to update the audience that I was just handed a margarita, so I don't know if that's relevant, but
look who's drinking on the podcast now.
It's Friday. It is Friday, and I will have what I want and not be criticized for it. Anywho.
But yeah.
It's very refreshing.
To me, I bet it is. To me, like, I know for a fact the soundtrack is going to be a fucking bop.
Yeah.
Like, and that's
I think
the only
that's like the only thing I'm excited about.
Are you ready to hear Melissa McCarthy sing Poor Unfortunate Souls? So, hey, maybe rethink that that statement.
Oh my god.
Just imagine. Exactly, you see?
Hey, okay, let's reel it back a little bit. Dovey Diggs doing Under the Sea.
Hey.
Hey.
You win some, you lose some, right?
Oh my god. That is... I remember how angry I was when they announced that. And it was a leak. It wasn't even like announced. Oh, I was pissed. I was so angry.
Because it was leaked, or?
No, because who in their right mind said, Ursula, you know what comes to my brain when I think of Ursula? Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
Wasn't Lady Gaga in talks at one point to do this?
She would have killed it.
Oh my god!
I mean,
nothing.
God. Because like if we look back at the culture of it all, like
instead she went to go do Harley Quinn in Joker 2.
What a trade-off. What a trade-off. At least it's going to be a musical, and it's going to piss off the Dubrovs. But the thing is that like Lady Gaga is like right now one of the queens of camp, and like that would have been a perfect marriage because the original Ursula was based on one of, if not the queen of camp, so I don't know, it's just like that would have been a perfect thing. Laverne Cox would have been fantastic as Ursula. I mean, there's like a list of people that like should have been on the list.
Melissa McCarthy is a very capable actor in her own
I'm
right.
not saying I love Melissa McCarthy. Are you joking? I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan. Are you kidding me? But
no, I think she's great. But it's just that lately she's gotten a bad rap for making horrible films on Netflix. Like the laziest garbage things you can imagine in the world of comedy that have been released have her name on top of it. Like, it's just, but she can be funny. She made my ass laugh so hard this year in Thor, and her cameo was hella.
Yeah.
That was so good.
That was her audition tape. She rocks like Kate Blanchett's outfit.
So, yeah, that's what we're dealing with here. Anything else to say on that teaser trailer? No? Okay, let's move on to the Disenchanted one. Look, there's so many confounding things about how Disney operates as a studio, and I think what Peter said years ago continues to prove itself true, in that Disney has way too many properties that it takes a fucking lifetime for like anything to have like a follow-up. If you were going to ever do a sequel to Enchanted, a film that came out in the year 2007.
15 years ago.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe like 2022 feels a bit late for a sequel to Enchanted, which, by the way,
to be fair, none of them have aged a day.
Well, I'm not even talking about, I don't care if they've aged or not. I mean, to your point, of course, they look amazing. Great. But the point is, it's about, capitalizing off of the success of the original film. And by all accounts, Enchanted was a smashing success back in 2007. Unexpectedly so. It is a very good film. It is a kind of good film that the live action unit at Disney has been incapable of making ever since, post 2015. So now we're in this new era with a new style of filmmaking, and we have a sequel. And there's a trailer out for Disenchanted. And what always works, and I think you can say the same with Hocus Pocus too, what always works is the original cast feel as if they never left and they never stopped playing these roles. And there will always be a novelty in watching them again relive these roles and, have new stories with them. The new trailer wasn't bad. There was parts of it that were, okay, I can see, being interested in where this goes. But it all kind of felt a bit, underwhelming in a way. It's like, considering like the first film, I was disappointed to see nothing was animated. Maybe 1 or 2 frames were animated. Whereas I know most of Enchanted took place in the live action world, but like there was a lot of serious, beautiful 2D animation there. And you could have that here too, but based off that trailer, it's just not there at all. Okay. All right. I mean, yeah, I just kind of like shrug. Okay, it'll come out Thanksgiving. All right. I'll watch it. But like, again, it's the same story with those live action remakes. My lack of excitement comes from a complete lack of faith in the people who run this division for these last few years. I can't get excited. But that's just me. You guys, what did you think of Disenchanted? I mean, I know we all loved Enchanted, right? Mm-hmm. Like the original film. I think it's one of the best movies, the best live action films they've ever done.
I mean, that's how you know, right? Yeah.
Alexis, your thoughts?
Okay.
And of course, I mean, please do not let me dump on your excitement. Yeah.
I'm a little confused. So it's supposed to take place like after they get married or something? Or like, have they been there a while?
It takes place several years after.
So
does it?
That's what I'm confused about, because
at least that's what the official press release said.
She, from what I understand from the trailer, is she doesn't like the world that she lives in or whatever, and she's like trying to change it or make it better in some ways. Isn't that the first story?
Oh, God, here we go again. Yeah, but you see, that's the only way they know how to make these sequels. It's like, we got to break what happened in the first film in order to have a story for the second one, because maybe there didn't need to be, maybe there wasn't enough to tell a second story. But you're right, I am confused, because, like, wait a minute.
And why are the other two back?
Because they're big stars now.
No, I mean, in the real world.
James Marsden and Idina Menzel.
Why do they come? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
If he wasn't in this movie, I would be pissed. But
they come back because they needed them to come back. They're stars.
It doesn't
make sense.
I understand why this movie was made. So many people have been asking for this movie to be made, and yes, I agree. It took way too long, and I think that we haven't seen it, but I think from what we know so far and what we've seen, it just doesn't make any sense. And you have to go back to that trailer for the first movie. Do you guys remember it, where she's popping up from the
sewage grate?
And like, you're just like, oh my god, like you see both animation and live action, and you get so
wow, you just unlocked a memory. Yes,
yeah,
now I remember that
so
first teaser.
It. And this is just like not.
It's not that.
It feels very thrown in, and just like, okay, let's just like do this because people keep asking about it.
It feels very thrown together.
Yes.
Let's just do a movie. Okay, we're doing a movie, folks. Let's do it.
We're doing a movie.
Hey, a movie.
Okay, I have faith. Like, I'm looking at like the behind the scenes of it. The writers of this movie wrote Shrek 2, Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, Rugrats in Paris, the movie, which were good movies, I think, at least. And then you have the opposite spectrum of it, and it's Richard Lee Gravitz, and he did movies like The Fisher King, which was a really good Robin Williams movie. The Bridges of Madison County, which is a good a film, A Little Princess, and stuff like that. So I kind of have faith in the writing. Music by Alan Menken.
Didn't he make the first one too?
Yeah. So
I mean,
of the three trailers that were released today, I like this one the most.
I think I agree with you, but that is, for me, I don't think that's a good thing. I mean, all around, like, yeah, I think this is the best put together one. But I'm still kind of like, well, yeah, I guess, right? I guess we'll see this when it comes out. And I like, okay, well, it's also a bit deflating to think that, it's a Disney Plus movie. And when you look at how...
Yes, because, I mean, granted, most of their sequels have been, like, straight to VHS or DVD or whatever. And Disney Plus kind of feels like that. But, like, Enchanted was very popular. I don't know. It's a little strange.
It was even nominated for an Academy Award, or a couple of them, for their songs, I believe.
Yeah.
It was a moment, and I feel like Enchanted really began this, in many ways, you could argue that it began this, like, new, I don't know, wave of, like, or this new era of, like, crossing the realism with the animation, or at least giving new life to how you can adapt animation to live action. I feel like in many ways, like, Enchanted inspired what would become Once Upon a Time on ABC in a way.
Yeah.
Like, the thing, also you could argue that it started like Disney poking fun of itself.
Sure, which has now become an annoying trend in some ways. I think Zootopia did it several times. Moana did it. I think Zootopia, it was a kind of an angry one. Who was it? Was it Idris Elba that voiced the police officer? That was like, this is not some kind of like cartoon world. Where, like,
well, you wave a magic wand and all your, dreams come true and stuff like that.
That was a great line. I loved it. Oh, gosh. Anyway, I think that's about it. So, Hocus Pocus. This one, I feel, no matter... And I think we should also remind ourselves of this. No matter what happens with these sequels, it in no way takes away from how great the original films were. I don't particularly like the last Star Wars movie. I just don't acknowledge its existence. To me, the story ended with Rey lifting rocks and they all get away. That's the end. And I've, in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's where it ended. And I think I can figure out where things go from there. That's all I needed to know. Anyway, Hocus Pocus is a movie that you can watch any time of the year, but I think you get most of the enjoyment during Halloween time. You can throw it on any time of the day on Halloween time. You can play it all day, every day, and it won't get old. It is, I think, up there with one of the best films Disney's ever made. Certainly from live action. And I think it is beloved and legendary for a reason. And I think it's long since warranted a sequel. But more to the point, right? I just said that Enchanted was released in the year 2007 and it's getting its sequel in 2022. Well, as long as Enchanted's been waiting, well, Hocus Pocus was released in the year
1993, baby. 1993.
So that's 29 years?
It's like
29 years.
10,000 years could give you such a crick in the neck, right?
They fucked up. They should have done it in the 30-year mark. It's not the 30-year mark this year?
Next year.
That's stupid.
I think the stupidity here is the fact that they didn't just like do a sequel immediately. Well, if they were going to do it.
To be fair, Hocus Pocus wasn't big until recently.
Yeah, it
wasn't big.
It
like
was a
Enchanted
box office
was.
Bomb when it first came out. So
I forgot about that.
So it took a while. It took a while for it to gain the popularity that it has now. So
historic.
You could defend it on that, or give it an excuse, but I liked it. I laughed.
Oh, you did your thing. I liked it.
I laughed.
She's bringing it back.
I laughed. I wasn't expecting a lot of things because I think that this movie, like, they never thought that they were gonna make a sequel, clearly, from the ending of the first movie. And just the fact that we're getting more things with the three of them, like, I think that they work really well together. I think that they're so funny. So I'm just excited to see them again.
I want to be clear here. I hope to eat my words with all of these movies. I want every movie I see to be great. Okay? I know I say a lot of mean and negative stuff about these films because I kind of feel like I know how they're going to turn out, but that doesn't mean I'm against them being good. And man, if there was a film I really want to be good, it's this one. Because even off of that trailer, the spark is still there with the three Sanderson sisters. Like, it's there. It's just that all the other stuff around it.
Well, to be fair, I don't really like the other people in the first movie. Like, the guy, I think he's annoying. The girlfriend. Yeah. I think she's just there. Like, I don't think she really does much.
That's
the
true.
The sister is the only one that, like, I think does something. So
okay,
you know what I mean? Like, it feels the same way. I think that the people in this one might do a little bit more, and they're more funny. So at least they have that. So
how did you feel about how it looked?
I thought it looked fine. Well, the other
locations
that we were
in.
So you know, like.
I mean,
I think it looked fine.
the original movie didn't have like, top-notch cinematography.
Yeah,
it was just
No,
It
but
was
it had
intended to be
no.
a
But
secret.
wait a
It had
minute.
good-
Excuse me. No, it had better locations. It had better. It looked like a film. There were spots in this trailer that looked kind of like a car commercial. I mean, let's be real here. Particularly when they're inside a convenience store. So, and the lighting is a dead giveaway. So, I mean, I'm not saying that the original film looked like the best in terms of cinematography, but come on, I don't expect it to look anywhere near as good as that one did.
I think
because of
my
where we are
argument
today.
I think my argument in because like you could tell like between the two, like one movie was filmed in studio and one was not.
Yeah.
Which was the original Hocus Pocus. And the thing is that I feel, and this is my argument for the fact that they filmed a lot of stuff in studio this time, is because there's now some sort of like intrigue for Hocus Pocus 2 that they might want to like shield that from like getting out.
No, it's not that. They save money that way.
Yeah, that's true.
We know it's true. They save money by doing it all indoors. Why? Because they can film inside, and they have green screens and blue screens, and they're VFX artists. It's faster for them to get the work done if they film inside than they film outside. That's the answer.
Yeah. The only thing that's worrying me is the story that they're gonna tell. That's the only
Well,
part.
it's the same thing. I mean, well, maybe to me, I'm not so worried because I always figured it was just gonna be the
same
first
thing.
movie again.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, what else are they gonna do for a sequel?
Yeah.
Oh, they come back for a night, and the new hero's got to go like kill him. Like, what else is gonna happen? I mean, I'm not excusing them doing that. It's just like, well,
Like what else
for
can
me
they do?
anyway. Yeah, I feel like that was kind of like baked into the idea of doing a Hocus Pocus 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean,
plus like the way that the first one ended, they disintegrated.
Yeah. That's why I was always confused about it.
Like you could argue like in the beginning of the movie of the first one, the reason why they were able to return is because like they were just like dead and like their corpses were still there. I mean, it showed them hanging from a tree
Yeah.
in the beginning of the movie. So like you could argue it's like bringing Jack Sparrow back from from Davy Jones' locker. You know, he was taken body and soul. You were able to retrieve the body. Where's the body in this? So that's my biggest question of all this stuff. I have my priorities sorted, guys. But the thing is, like historically, with like Hocus Pocus, is like it didn't it didn't start getting its popularity that it is like right now until Disney Channel started airing it during Halloween. Like that's the whole reason why Hocus Pocus is as popular as it is now, because of our generation, specifically our generation, coming to our own with the movie.
so you're saying it's our fault?
It is.
Yeah, it is
You're
our
welcome.
fault. But yeah, I mean, it's just you have all this stuff. Also, Mary riding fucking Roombas.
The brrr. Oh my god. And then the stretch. Or spread out. They're so stupid. I just
See, that stuff still works.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You
saying.
know?
Like I just think I never saw it. Like I feel like the weight that the Little Mermaid has or Disenchanted has, like I feel like that's not
there with Hocus
Yeah.
Pocus.
yeah. And so
Because-
I just want a fun time.
Because like the thing is that it all what really helps is the fact is that like the three actresses, the three actors,
They're
wanna
huge. Like they
fucking-
had no business coming back, but
Yeah.
they did.
and the fact that they've been clamoring for it since the OG. I remember watching like behind the scenes featurette on the first one, and like somebody like said, will there be a possibility of a 2? And that's way back in 1993. When she was doing when Bette Midler was doing press for the movie. So you could imagine like how long like the three have been wanting to do it. I mean, one could argue maybe Sarah Jessica Parker, because her career has blossomed so much.
Excuse me, Bette Midler.
Okay, obviously that goes without saying, because one cannot compare to the divine Miss M. But like that's the thing, is that they, despite everything that their career is and where they are now, they still want to do it, and they still they've been clamoring for this for a long time already. And I'm glad that they still have it, and it looks like they still have the same chemistry that they did way back in the day, and because of that, like I feel like I'm good at. That's why when I told you guys, off mic, is that this looks really fun. This looks like they're having the time of their life, and hopefully like their chemistry and like the way that they're having fun reflects in the way that we're watching it. And that's what gives me hope for it. Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, is it going to be the first one? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But like the way that they're having a lot of fun, it's gonna rub off on on the viewer. Hopefully, So I don't know. I
mean, one can hope, right? I will say, for my part, there are plenty of examples where the stars are giving it their all and they're good in it, but they can't make everything else around them work. So we're going to have to see. Time will tell.
I mean,
and it's coming up pretty.
I mean, neither did Omri Katz and Vanessa Shaw in the original movie, so.
When is it coming out?
The 30th.
September 30th. Very, very soon.
September 30th. All right. If we're done with that, let's go ahead and talk about what we did this past weekend.
They released the trailer really late. That's in 3 weeks.
Yeah, they probably were saving it for D23. We will, anyway, we'll get more D23 and other podcasts. So this past weekend was Labor Day weekend, and it seems to be the time of year the three of us are somehow available to do something. Last year we did Disney, and this year we did Hollywood, in style, as they say.
Hollywood, baby.
Originally we scheduled to see John Williams at the Hollywood Bowl, and while we were at it, later on it was announced that very day would be Cinema Day, and so we decided to go see Jaws in IMAX, and then just to top off the weekend, we also went and experienced the Academy Museum in Hollywood. And yeah, we did all those things. And it still hasn't sunk all the way in just yet. But for my money, I had a blast. And I can't believe we got to do the things that we did. So yeah.
Can I begin this with a story? I remember a while ago, I think, probably like a year ago or 2 years ago or something like that. I remember all of us were talking about like the potential of seeing John Williams at, somewhere. Just like look out. I remember you guys told me the specific duties. You guys gave me the task of keeping an eye out for John Williams tickets. And then lo and behold, like one day, like the lovely IRS gave me my tax refund, and I was like, okay, yes, I get to thoroughly plan this trip, and all that stuff. So I'm like, hope to God that John Williams is performing this year or something like that, and hopefully we could take the journey. And lo and behold, I saw that he's going to be performing at the bowl. And I was like, oh, thank God he's doing that at the bowl. And I told you guys, and we made the arrangements. I wanted to spill it on the podcast so bad, but us and Red Spotlight Entertainment history, if we announce it on the podcast prematurely, it won't happen. So we've been dying to tell you about this trip, and I was like, when I finally bought it, I was like, okay, but he is 90. What if we were just so scared of him dropping dead before the concert?
By the way, it has been a year full of high-profile deaths.
Yes.
We began the year with Betty White biting the dust, so that's the kind of year that we've had. Yeah.
Then not too recently, the Queen of fucking England died. So I mean,
which we'll get into more later on, but yeah, it's always a risk. And of course, on this podcast, we've long mentioned the fact that we were teasing a Disney trip that was canceled by a global pandemic. So we learned our lesson to not advertise what was going to happen until after it's already happened, considering our luck.
I think this weekend we figured it out. It's when Kyle says things.
I mean, but I think we've known, remember, sometimes the weirdest shit happen. I think to me,
the universe doesn't want me to be happy. The thing is that Alexis,
or at least not for long.
No, the thing is that Alexis, you complain the universe is against me. No, bitch, the universe is against me. The universe is against me. Eventually, things go your way. When I try to manifest shit, the universe is like, no, fuck you. Take it up the ass. No, you're not getting anything.
There was one instance where it worked, where you did manifest something. From what you claimed, you were manifesting.
I reverse manifested.
Oh, okay.
I reverse manifested. Okay, I was saying they're not gonna play anything Harry Potter. They're not going to play anything Harry Potter. And it worked because he not only played one piece from Harry Potter, but he played two from Harry Potter. So
he almost didn't play two.
So Alexis Moreno, you are fucking welcome. Anyway.
Because you anti-manifested.
Because maybe I should anti-manifest, things. I will not marry Chloe Bennett.
Oh my God.
That's not going to happen.
I will not. You see, you say that, but I'm reverse manifesting it. So maybe. Anyway, so I've been looking forward to this trip for 17 years. For 17 years.
You do realize that if you date her at some point, you're dating the ex-girlfriend of Logan Paul.
That is a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Oh my God. I forgot that they. Oh my God. That's horrible.
Okay, I'm not saying it will happen, because I'm a realist. But if it does happen, what does that say about me?
I think we all know what it says. That it's best left unsaid. Anyway, continue.
So this is a 17-year, dream of mine. It was on my bucket list, to see the man behind the soundtrack of my childhood,
The maestro of the movies, I believe, was on the concert, queue. On the marquee,
of the three concert series that he did at the Bowl.
And again, you can see all the images from these concerts on all of our social media handles. Kyle, your Instagram handle is
at Kyle Andrew Lira,
and then Alexis is at
my name,
Alexis Moreno, yeah. And then mine is mine. So if you want to see the images, they're there on social media.
We know Alexis is, everyone. I'm fucking with you. So yeah, and we were like, should we do other shit? Because might as well. We're here. And Moreno came up with a great idea, and that was hey, I want to see the Oscars Museum, and I'm like, great.
Well, she's been wanting to do that for a while now.
Yeah. then Alexis, you're like, well, Jaws is doing a thing, which it fit perfectly because like John Williams also did the Jaws, so like the combined efforts of the two scenarios really.
I mean, it worked out so perfectly in ways. It's hard to even like when you think about how perfect it all lined up. It's kind of like, man, how did this happen to us? Usually we have to like really like fight and scrap, fight for every scrap, as they say. But like Jaws not only was a film that was scored by John Williams, it is one of the films, the most well-known, most like the biggest films of all time for a multitude of reasons. Mm-hmm. And of course, that was the weekend we went to go like to the Academy Museum. It was like a celebration, if you will, of all of our combined love for movies. And it's still like the way you said it yourself. It's still hard to believe how like perfectly it all came together, but how it all paired so well together. Like from every like little nook and cranny. Like if we could go ahead and start off with the Universal City Walk experience, because that's where we went to go see the movie. It ended up even being enhanced by the idea that it was on Cinema Day, which meant that the movie tickets were $3 per person.
IMAX tickets, baby.
At City Walk.
At Universal City Walk, which, by the way, can we talk about? That's the first time I've gotten inside. That was a nice-ass lobby.
It was a nice ass.
It was a nice ass lobby. Like seriously. And it went on forever.
I agree. Holy shit. You could get lost in that fucking theater. Like literally, not like metaphorically, but you could get lost. You need a fucking map because that shit is like all over the place. There's so many like individual theaters and different like specialty theaters as well. There's a fucking bar in the second floor. Like
Ooh, I would have loved to have spent some time there. I saw some of the beers I like to have on draft there, and I was like, damn, but we got to get moving. We got to move on to our next thing.
You could have carried it out. I mean, it's City Walk. I mean,
well, that's true, but I don't want to keep us. But I think it is safe to say that was the IMAX theater that we went into. That was the single biggest screen I've ever been into. That screen was cinematic. It was definitely deserving of the IMAX name. And the film, I've seen that movie several times, of course, even in the 4K restoration at home. This was like watching the film, new again. It's never looked so crisp, so beautiful. Just the shots, some of the shots of the water were just breathtaking. I didn't want it to end. And you forget sometimes because, it is, Jaws is an older film, but like you forget like how enjoyable it really is. And, it is something of, a moment that it ended up being Alexis's first time watching the movie.
Yes, Kyle.
Okay. I looked at the specs a week ago, not a week ago, like a few days ago, of the size of that theater, and it is 3.25 stories tall.
Damn.
So when we say big screen, we don't mean big screen. We mean big screen.
Wow. Yeah. I loved it. I just loved being there. I love that it was a packed house. It felt like everybody was there to celebrate the film, but also Cinema Day. It was a packed theater. Of course, Universal City Walk. It is Hollywood, of course. You would expect that to some extent. But everybody enjoyed the film. And Alexa seemed like it as well. Did you know, though, that it was a horror movie going in?
Yes, I knew it was.
Okay.
But I just didn't think that I was going to get scared. I didn't get scared, but like
jumpy.
It was like, yeah. I don't like sharks. I don't like the ocean. So,
which is ironic.
It's a horror movie to you.
It's ironic because your favorite like your favorite princess is Ariel. Quite the irony.
You worked at SeaWorld, right, Alexis? Did you ever have like a nightmare where you would somehow fall into the shark tank?
No, I just didn't pay attention. I literally just looked at the ground the whole time.
Fair enough. It creeped me out as a kid going through it, like, because I remember going to SeaWorld when I was like 3 and like going into the shark exhibit and looking up and seeing sharks, swim over you is just like,
yeah. I remember the first time going in there.
The last time that I went, there was a shark coming like directly towards us, and I literally ducked.
Next time, let's do Jaws 3D.
Oh no!
Even though the shark looks like crap. No, but
the shark looked good.
And Jaws 3D.
Oh, I thought you meant this one.
No, literally the third installment of Jaws.
Oh,
Jaws 3D.
It's in the title, Alexis. It's literally called Jaws 3D.
But no, it was a lot of fun, and I like that I hadn't seen it before, and that was the first time. And then like everybody reacting to it and stuff. I don't know. It was fun.
The little boy sitting next to me peed his pants. Like that's how much of it. Like that's like honestly, poor kid. Yes, absolutely poor kid. But the fact that a movie from the 70s, like the mid 70s, still has that impact on audiences still to this day is a testament of what kind of film Jaws is, And
it is very difficult to get the younger kids these days to even pay attention to films that old.
Yeah.
Because damn, it's a lot of years for sure. No, it's a very entertaining film. There's a lot to it. I know Alexis had a bit of an issue that was very much the issue I had. And I know that in 2020, I did a deep dive because it was, COVID lockdown. So I did a deep dive into all of Spielberg's works, rewatching a lot of the films that he's made.
As one does.
Of course. When I got to Jaws, it happened the first time I had seen it in many, many years. But it almost was like watching it for the first time. Now, when it came to, what's the actor? Robert Shaw?
Yeah.
Robert Shaw, who plays Quint. I had the luxury. Now, I know some of us have I know Kyle doesn't like watching movies with subtitles on. I do because I like to, it's like reading the screenplay with the film in a way. And also, sometimes there are certain accents you can't understand, and so it helps to kind of filter that out. And so even I, knowing, of course, having already seen the film and knowing what he's getting at, even I had a hard time deciphering what he was saying. So I could hear every other word. But Alexis was I think after the end of a key monologue, he was I have no idea what he just said.
And it doesn't.
It was so long. It was really long too.
And it doesn't. Because this is the way he was talking. It was and it doesn't help that it's not even English is not even Robert Shaw's second language. It's his third language.
I mean, he delivered a great performance. Everybody knows absolutely. That. I mean, that's not in question. It's just that this is one of those moments where the subtitles, because that was a bad part to not understand what he was saying, because that is a key moment of the movie, because it is a moment where the performance turns from his usual crazy, kooky, happy-go-lucky, insane self into a very serious way, where it gives you insight into why Quint is the way that he is and what he has suffered.
Because he's a survivor.
Yeah. Particularly also his trauma with sharks.
Yeah. Which is
it's a good I like that they put them both together. The other guy, the scientist guy.
Mm-hmm.
And put their stories together and kind of not mirror each other, but just look at their obsession with sharks, but in different lenses, and how impacted they are individually by it.
There's a lot of stuff going on there. Like, I think what's on the surface, at least, it's like the struggle between a working class guy and one clearly of a more elitist background, or I guess a higher educated background. That's one of the things that, like, I think clearly divided them, and like they loved getting under each other's skin and like wanting to prove, you know, which was the better one. And you know, it's that thing as well.
Kind of a dick, like a literal, like an almost literal dick measuring contest by showing like each other like their scars and all this stuff. However, I like the fact that the officer, the sheriff, the chief, yeah, I like that he had his own like shark wounds, but he refused to like show it off. You know, and it just like it's a comparison to like all the, you know, the camaraderie that happens between the three. You know, it's so. I
love the moments real quick. I love the moments where Alexis was like whispering to me, like that would be me, Chief, on the boat when they're chasing the shark, and him just like wobbling around the ship trying to like not like go overboard.
Yes,
I would be me too. I would be like
not get close to the edge. Like what the fuck.
Yeah,
that's one thing about the movie, that so many of these people are stupid.
And like Alexis said, a lot of those chase sequences with the trying to catch the shark, oh my god, they're brilliant. They're so perfectly directed.
Yeah,
it's like wow, so good. And real quick, I don't want to lose your train of thought, Kyle. So keep it in your mind, real quick. Don't lose it. But what Alexis was saying, I again rewatched this in the lockdown. And for the first half of the film, wow, does it give you flashbacks to how people were treating coronavirus well before there were any kind of like vaccines.
It's the 4th of July. The beach must remain open.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like choosing profit over people.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. Although they rationalize it as, well, the profit is for the people, so we're choosing people. We're choosing freedom. We're choosing life.
Let freedom free. What's so amazing, and like that I did, because I've always watched it on a TV screen, you know, watching Jaws and all that stuff. Like nothing beats the cinematic. Like it sounds like such a like a fucking nose up cinema's ass kind of thing, but nothing beats a cinematic experience like that, because like I was like looking at like I never noticed the cinematography of Jaws, but looking at it on a big fucking screen, an emphasis on big screen, just made
it changes. It adds a different dimension that you didn't know was already there. Like, let me tell you, you should have been there with us, and I know that there were scheduling conflicts, but when Peter and I saw E.T. in IMAX, that was a whole different level. Like, my jaw was on the floor when the film opened. And you know how E.T. opens? You have that, you know, with the starry night, and then it pans down.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so stupid, because in all my life, in all my years, I never knew that was a matte painting. I never knew that. I couldn't even, because in that version of the IMAX 4K version, you see the paintbrushes of the matte painting. That's how clear it is. And I never saw that in any of the transfers on TV. I literally thought, oh, they just shot it at the sky.
I mean, but hey,
I was like,
hey, that you're representative of what the audience who originally saw E.T. was, you know? So like, you know, you shouldn't feel like dumb for that, you know? It's just like,
I feel like I should know it because I love that movie so much, but like immediately it caught my eye, like, wow, this looks so much. And look, let me tell you something. I know I wanted to talk about this with Peter, but he's kind of like working 5,000 jobs right now, so he's not on this podcast, and he unfortunately couldn't make it with us. He was supposed to, but he had a lot of other obligations, and so contrary to what the slander he would spread, I'm sure whenever he returns, that we never invited him.
We have the receipts, bitch.
We have the receipts, so he can complain all he wants. But anyway,
I personally felt bad that he wasn't there.
I mean, I did too.
He would have loved this. He would have loved the whole entire trip. Yeah, I mean, it would have just been an amazing thing for all of us.
But one of the things I wanted to say, though, about the ET thing that I'm not sure if I'm going to get the chance anytime soon was I noticed there was an older gentleman, I think right behind us. And I think he was in his 60s, late, maybe even early 70s. And I have to think he was of the age where he probably saw that movie when he was a boy in 1982, 40 years ago. And he was like, laughing and, interacting, not annoyingly so, but, you could hear it with most of the film, as, our audience was. When it got to the very, very ending of the film, I could hear him, now, with all due respect, Kyle, all the love to you in the world, but a subtle crier you are not. And when you get emotional, it is not quiet. I feel like most people around you can definitely tell what's going on, but this person behind us, and he wasn't loud or anything, but I heard him just sobbing at that finale of ET, and it just made me think wow, just judging by how old he looks, he might just be reliving the first time he saw that film on the big screen. This is my first time watching that on the big screen.
That was probably his favorite film. It probably is his favorite film of all time, and he's seeing that movie, Oh my God. I
think, real quick.
I want to see Hook.
Real quick. Well, you did see Hook.
I know.
On your home theater.
I know, but in a real theater, in a real theater.
I think the point of what you were saying ultimately is that, look, at the end of the day, people watch films wherever they watch films, and you can enjoy them no matter what. A good movie is a good movie.
Yeah.
But I think what this year has shown you and me is that the optimal way to see a movie is on the big screen. And I think what we've also...
I watched Grease on the big screen this year for the first time.
That's right. So look, I feel like we've all indulged this year. On top of all of the other new films that we see, we've all taken more trips to see older films come back to the big screen this year. Whether it be E.T., whether it be Jaws, Grease, even The Thing. And some of us saw these films for the first time. Some of these older films for the first time. This is my first time seeing The Thing. So was Kyle's in the theater.
And it's
Nettie also went to go see The Thing in the theater. It's like it is special to see these old films come back. And I, for the life of me, can't understand why it is Disney doesn't release a lot of their older films
like they used
more frequently on their big screen. Particularly the ones that I want to see are episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars on the big screen.
Dude, you know how much money Disney would make? Even if it's the special editions. That shit would make a bunch of money.
I don't think anybody would care if it was the special editions. It's still the movie, ultimately, but still the point is true.
Yeah.
They should do that more often. And I'm sure they did that at some theaters when the new Star Wars film came out, but man, I'm just kicking myself not taking advantage of that and seeing those films.
But the thing is that they played it in big cities like LA, New York, and stuff like that.
I remember when they were doing that.
And didn't you have to devote a whole day or two?
Yeah.
To do it all at once?
They did that for Avengers.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Although it would be an interesting experience watching Infinity War and Endgame back to back. Like that.
Sure. But I mean, their marathon was every MCU movie.
Wild.
That was intense. Yeah. But I think I've seen more older movies this year than I have seen actual new movies.
Didn't you go see something else recently besides Grease?
Yes.
Wizard of Oz?
I saw Wizard of Oz.
You did the Wizard of Oz? Fuck you. I want to see that.
How was that?
Damn.
That was... I cry every single time I go watch these movies because... I love that we go and it's with people that love these movies, because who the hell is gonna pay to go watch these movies again, you know? Like, it's people who truly love these movies, and you hear the conversations around you and they're just like, oh my god, like, I'm excited to see this, or they start singing along, or, you know, it's so much fun, like, the environment. Like, well, when we saw Grease, not planned, but it was the week that Olivia Newton-John passed away. I think it was like the day before, wasn't it? Or something like that.
Yeah, like a day or two before. Yeah, I remember.
What conspicuous timing.
Yeah, and so they had to...
You manifested it. You.
Yeah, I know. No, me and Kyle talked about it the day before. It's you!
No shit,
yeah, we
really?
talked about it the day before. And then literally the next day, Olivia Newton-John passed away.
Were you two talking about the Queen before?
No. But,
No, it
what's
wasn't
it
me.
called? So, like, all that happened, and, like, I was already excited. Like, Grease is my all-time favorite movie. And so I was already like, oh my god. And they had to open up another movie theater because it booked up, like, super quick. And we did, like, the big movie theater in our, at Harkins. So that's, like, a big deal. And we got there and everybody was, like, in costumes, and, like, the lobby was full, the parking lot was full. Like, we got there and we were like, what the heck? Like, there's so many people here. So, I don't know. It was a lot of fun. And the same with Wizard of Oz. It wasn't in the big movie theater, but a lot of, like, it was a packed house.
I mean, The Wizard of Oz is one of the most iconic films that ever will be made.
Mm-hmm.
And even from the exhibit that is literally at the Academy Museum, like, it is timeless as timeless will ever be. And to see that on the big screen is such a treasure. I'm kicking myself.
I know David had said, like, well, I hadn't seen this movie in a long time. Like, it's just so good. It's so good.
And again, when you don't watch movies in the longest time, when you do finally revisit them, it's like watching them for the first time again in a way, you know? It's like, oh yes, this is how good this is. This is why
this had an impact. Like, if you hadn't seen a movie since you were little,
yeah,
like, it's hard for movies to make an impact when you're little because you're all over the place. But when you go back to it as an adult, you're just like, okay, I know now why this movie stuck with me.
Like, Kyle always asks me, like, what older films would you want to see in theaters? Any of them. I don't care, any of them. Like the ones my go-tos are the Star Wars ones, but I can think of
my God, are you
Casablanca. I would. Lawrence of Arabia, Citizen Kane, Mary Poppins.
Movie? Oh my God, are you joking? I would literally die. Oh,
Roman Holiday, Sabrina,
Mary Poppins, Lawrence of Arabia, Citizen Kane.
Oh my God. I would die. I've seen a few, like, myself, you know, going back. I remember.
Let's not talk about Mary Poppins.
Oh, knowing the track record of this year, yeah. let's not manifest anything. Protect the Queen of Genovia at all costs.
What did she just say, bitch? What did she just say? And you went ahead and, like, spelled it out. Well, I guess we should just write the obituary right now.
Oh, so, like...
Let me get a pen.
Oh, so, yeah, Casablanca Moreno is fantastic. Like, if it's showing, I don't care what you do, drop whatever you're doing, quit your job, do whatever. Watch Casablanca, because it's beautiful.
Yeah. And it's cool because before they show these, they call it, like, Classic Tuesdays or something like that. And they show older movies on Tuesdays, which is when I went to go see these movies. The first time I did it, I watched, what is it called? Kyle, you like this movie about the knights?
Monty Python.
Yeah, I watched Monty Python.
Holy Grail. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. But they would do it like at 1 in the afternoon, and then they changed it now to 7, so I can go see them now.
Well, from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m., I just remembered, Kyle, we did Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, at like a really ungodly hour. But that was fantastic, though. I mean, but it's like the experience version of watching it at a screening. It's like with everybody like having like already like notes, saying Trump must die and all that stuff. Like it's like you had the experience of a Rocky Horror Picture Show. I remember seeing a Godfather 1 and 2 back to back in movie theaters, and those movies are an investment. Like you have to invest an entire afternoon to watch those 2 movies.
Like right now,
so look,
I think they're showing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this movie. It's called Giant. It's with what are they called? Cleopatra. What's her name?
Elizabeth Taylor
and James Dean. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie.
Oh, wow. What a duo.
It's so good. It's such a good movie, and they're showing it. Ooh.
Let me see. I'm gonna be doing a little research. Keep talking, guys.
Why don't we talk about the concert? First of all, look, there's a heat wave, or there was anyway, a heat wave, and it wasn't very nice. And
we literally went on the weekend of peak heat wave.
Yeah, sometimes we could time these a little bit better, couldn't we? At least it wasn't D23 weekend,
yeah,
because that would have not been as great. Alexis, what would you say? How did you enjoy the John Williams concert? I know you were stressing out like big time over like fear that because you dressed up for the part. You went in your robes, you got a wand, you did your hair all Hermione style, and you were worried all day long that Harry Potter wasn't going to be on the set list.
I was.
So, how did you like the show?
It was so good. I think my favorite part was actually the opening, where they did like a medley of a bunch of different movies.
Yeah.
I thought that was like super cool to see, and obviously like the Star Wars stuff was really fun too. And then just seeing him, I think, like
just being in his presence was just so cool. Hearing him talk, hearing the man educate the people. He was going off on like techno babble on like the ins and outs of how to create music, as if we knew what that was. But we didn't care. Like, we were just like listening. Yeah, sure, And it's like you almost have to like pinch yourself. It's like, we're talking to a 90-year-old man coherently explain like what this stuff is and passionately perform for us. And it's like, man, how many 90-year-old people do you know that are that lucid and that all there and that passionate about the lives that they have led to work to this very day, to not retire? And I loved, and God, I hope, I so hope this becomes true. Now, Kyle, you don't get to say it. When he said, well, since you guys seem to love me so much, I guess I'll have to live to be 100. And it helps that he, even though there have been like some stories out there that suggest he's retiring, he's really not. He's still working. He's still writing new scores.
Bond movie.
That'd be amazing.
That'll come out in 2027. I don't know. At this rate, when he'll be like 90, I don't know, whatever. But like, we were there to see him. And that was all the worth it. And just the showmanship of the man to continuously tease us with like, okay, well, I'm 90. I'm going to go to bed.
What?
He did 4 fucking encores, and for those of you who are listening and not sure like what this means, he got off of his pedestal, literally walked off the stage as it's a little pedestal, but seriously, walked off the stage like with the impression out there that that was it, and then it just walked back 4 different times.
It was a Bugs Bunny moment, like aren't I a stinker?
Literally.
Yeah. And then the other part that I really enjoyed was, this isn't like something that most people are familiar with, or like when people think about like the movie music, they just think like, oh, like it's just there, like, but the people around, like the people in front of us, how excited they would get, how like their reactions to everything, and they'd just be like, oh yes, like that was so
You're not
cool.
used to seeing that, huh?
Yes. Like it's literally a symphony.
These are our people.
Like literally treating this guy like as if he were like Axl Rose or Madonna or something like that. I mean, like it was just a literal like rock concert energy that you got from these people from playing soundtrack music, Yeah, when the fucking fiddle, like everybody was like, yeah, play the fucking fiddle.
The little triangle charm thing.
But yeah, I mean, it was just like, it's great. And like the way that he presented himself, it feels like this must be what people in like the recording booth feel when he's like doing like the the movie scores and stuff like that. It's a different kind of magic, all in itself. I mean, no pun intended, because he did the Harry Potter films. But he like it can't be matched. Like this is the film composer, like no.
Look, I think suffice to say. The Los Angeles Philharmonic performed their music to perfection. As close as perfect as you can get. That music, in terms of how they played it, I mean, of course, John wrote most, if not all, the music that was played. And of course, that in and of itself is brilliant. That's why he's the man. But in terms of how they performed it, wow, can you tell they've been playing that music for years and years and years? Like, there was just, like, nothing off about it. It was, I mean, that's all I can say. It was pretty great. And, I mean, the sound, Jesus Christ, the sound. Just to be there in person and to, like, hear some of those, like, tracks that, like, are literally the sound to some of the best films that will ever be made. And considering the advanced age of this brilliant living legend, at this point is a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
And even still to this day, dropping new music like he did.
Yeah.
Not just one, but like 2, like Obi-Wan, that came out this year. That was like a new, and I love that piece. And he played it for us, and it was, oh my God, it was great to hear it.
The story that he gave when he's, oh my God, I love this man.
So good.
Like he just says it so like casually, like, oh yeah, we did this, and they told me about that we didn't do this, so I just went ahead and like did this. What the heck?
Yeah, because there wasn't, like, technically speaking, there wasn't an official like Obi-Wan theme, but I believe some people like sideways on YouTube have like speculated that the Force theme. Or no, one of the themes was supposed to be a dedicated Obi-Wan theme, but it ended up not being that. It was changed.
Yeah, it was the Force theme that was supposed to be the Obi-Wan theme, but like, and you could hear it a little motifs of it in it.
The official Obi-Wan theme.
Also, like the little motif that you hear in the original Star Wars. Also, like he called the first Star Wars a Lost Hope instead of a New Hope. But of all people who get to call it that and get away with it, it's John Williams.
He's been alive for 9 decades.
Yeah. And he's done...
That's the thing.
And he's done twice over movies since then. Are you guys still here? Oh.
That was weird.
That was weird.
We had a slight technical glitch. There's some hurricane rains happening in our area, so that might have contributed to what's going on. We should have mentioned that the town that Kyle and I reside in has been besieged by water today. So,
who would have thunk it?
Exactly.
Tatooine flooded.
I know, right?
But yeah, I mean, he started off strong. Like, he started off really strong with the Olympic fanfare, you know.
Well, real quick, we should mention David Newman's bit before.
Oh, yeah, he did.
So remind me. So David Newman actually, well, before David, I mean, as Alexis mentioned, the orchestra opened with the montage, or I guess the medley of all the different films. Oh my God, it was so good, so good. And then the bits that David Newman came in, just to see Bugs Bunny be treated with such reverence. Whereas Daddy Zaslav over there on Warner Brothers wants to kill anything and everything animation. It was just nice to see Bugs Bunny in something that was of esteem for a change lately. And to have a classic Looney Tunes cartoon there like that. Of course, orchestra themed, to play with the music. So wonderful. The stories that David Newman shared about the history of his father, Alfred Newman, and the relationship he had with John Williams was so nice. And he also played E.T.
Yeah. The
music from E.T., which was surprising. I thought that John would do that one himself, since he usually does, as you said, Kyle.
Yeah, he usually... It's usually a trade-off of two songs that he plays for the finale. He usually plays the flying sequence from E.T., or he does the Imperial March. And in this case, he decided to do the Imperial March.
And even though it wasn't John conducting that performance, the orchestra was no less flawless, no less spectacular.
I wrote down the full set list.
I mean, I know you did, but I mean, we're just going over the highlights of all of it. One of the two bigger surprises, one that included Newman and one that included Williams, because I didn't see these coming, were Lincoln and Schindler's List. If you told me that Schindler's List would be played, I was like, that's a bit too, I don't know, much of a downer. And boy, was it. I mean, look, Schindler's List was one of the more powerful moments of the night because, of course, you had the performer who was like, oh my gosh, she was so good on the violin, right? That's the instrument. That piece of music has to be one of the saddest pieces of music ever written. You could just feel I think I even heard people tearing up in the background.
That was me.
How moved. But that was for the other ones, Kyle. I don't know if that one was you.
I'm joking. But you know what? It's so incredible. Okay, listen to this. Fiddler on the Roof is a Jewish musical. You know, it's a very Jewish prominent, dominated musical, and the fact that was paired brilliantly by the tragic heroism of Oskar Schindler in Schindler's List.
I didn't even catch that shit.
Yeah.
That's so
true. A double piece, which is it's so it was a brilliant companion piece because he did the thing is that John Williams, when he does these concerts and stuff like that, he usually puts in one for himself. And the one that he did for himself was the Fiddler on the Roof thing, which was brilliant. I loved listening to the score for that. But paired so brilliantly from Jewish stories in Schindler's List, I think was an actual great companion piece of the two.
And I think we were still debating whether or not this was scripted or not. But either way, I think it was the right call to save Harry's Wondrous World after Schindler's List. We needed a pick-me-up after hearing Schindler's List. And Harry's Wondrous World is a great track to, get the spirits flowing again in a more optimal way, shall we say. But it's because he announced, I think one of the first ones he did was Hedwig's theme, and Harry's Wondrous World. Except he forgot to do Harry's Wondrous World, and then just went into, I believe, Fiddler on the Roof or something else. And then after Schindler's List was completed, he, announced to the crowd that maybe it was a senior moment, maybe it could be, but that he had forgot to play Harry's Wondrous World, and so now he was going to go ahead and do that. I mean, to me, it came off as a genuine senior moment, but I guess you guys felt it was a bit more scripted than that.
Because he said, and that had no, you might think that I have something against Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling. Like the emphasis on the way that he said her name.
King.
John Williams literally was like, trans rights.
There was some very notable shade in the way he said the name J.K. Rowling, and the whole crowd there got it. They got what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Which anyway. Harry Potter music was played. How did you guys react to that? I know Kyle was weeping for all of it. Alexis, how did you react?
I was relieved. I was like, oh my god, thank God. I literally all day was like, you better fucking play it. What if he does it? What if he doesn't? I'm gonna look like a fool dressed like this. Because like I saw maybe like 1 or 2 people dressed with like Harry Potter stuff, which is fine. Like I understand why.
Well, the weather, I'm sure, plays a big part.
Yeah,
in
that's
it.
true.
I mean, look, you guys went all
garb.
You two were very committed to Bound, as your fandoms and everything. But I asked Kyle after, how was it like wearing a long sleeve black shirt? So Kyle, how was it?
Oh my
wearing
god,
a long
I was
sleeve black
dying.
shirt?
I mean, it's incomparable to like wearing fucking Hogwarts robes, which like has like the specs of the actual costumes that they wore. But I was dying. I was just like, as soon as like I sat down, I'm like, all right, I'm throwing my hair back up and and rolling up my sleeves because this is ridiculous. But Moreno couldn't, sucker.
I took my thing off, my robe off. But I wasn't that bad once I put it back on.
It helps that the sun wasn't a factor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! Can you imagine if this concert were done in the middle of the day?
No, thank you.
Good god. But yeah, so I bounded as Darth Vader. It was...
Wait a minute, Kyle. It's hilarious, though. I mean, because Alexis was saying that she didn't want to walk out humiliated that he wouldn't play any Harry Potter music because she went all out. If anybody, I was the one that walked out humiliated.
But you got Lincoln,
But for you...
I got Lincoln.
But for you personally, you got Lincoln, though.
I got Lincoln. I was like, oh, okay, well, I never in a million years thought, of all the things that John Williams would play, I would half expect, like, the theme from Hook or the Superman theme would, take precedent over that. But like Lincoln, that was interesting. But yeah, I got that one, but I wasn't wearing a Lincoln shirt. It would be funny if I was wearing a Lincoln shirt, but that'd be so stupid. But I was wearing a Jurassic Park shirt. So, and that's the one thing that he didn't play. At least
you didn't get the hat from the store.
At least it was just a stupid shirt. I didn't go all out with it, which I could have, and then that would have like maybe been not so great.
Okay, so like when I was booking, I didn't know that they had a that John Williams was playing in San Diego. Listen to look at this, look at the playlist for that concert in San Diego, which is like somewhat closer to it than LA for all of us. Especially Moreno, because she lives in Texas. Like he did Born on the 4th of July and all that stuff, like for like the opening's sake, but he started off his like main set with Hedwig's theme and the Raiders March, Flight to Neverland, the Superman March, Jurassic Park, Star Wars main title, like the opening crawl, the Imperial March, Yoda's theme, the throne room end title, and then he ended off with the ET theme.
Did we get shortchanged?
Maybe.
I'm kidding.
But
I mean,
hey,
it's a great set list.
Lincoln.
Like, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing as well. So, I mean, look, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I think that goes to show you why I would say that. I know, like, it's soundtrack music, but it's like, to me, it's like Williams is up there, one of the best musical artists of all time. Because unlike a lot of the other artists, his music will forever be timeless. Like, to me, I think you can put John Williams right next to Mozart, like literally, or Beethoven. Like, that's how well his music will be remembered. And you just also listed off that the man has literally so many known pieces of music out there. He can't play all of them
Yeah.
for a concert. Like, I would have loved, I mean, even with Superman, there's a Superman march, but I love the love theme from Superman.
Yeah.
I would have, and we got a little bit in the Raiders march, but, we have Marion's theme. We got a little bit of Princess Leia's theme in the end title, but you would have loved that. I mean, the Han and Leia, or the Han Solo and the Princess theme. So good. There's so many
good,
wonderful
yeah.
themes. Yeah.
So many things.
I would have loved if he actually played As Time Goes By. From Casablanca.
A little bit of
Like,
play
there's-
was played under David Newman's set, but like, yeah, I mean, you got that. Oh, by the way, again, like the medley. I mean, it was already mentioned, but the medley of different songs. Hearing the Godfather theme live was incredible.
Oh God, those movies.
Oh my God,
it was just so nice to see those movies. Like, it had been a while for many of them. I also want to recommend, of course. For those of you who, I mean, all of us like use streaming, we stream music obviously, but go ahead, because there were 2 recent live albums with an orchestra. Well, maybe not live, but like recent albums that John Williams released. John Williams in Vienna. And then I believe also there was a new one from this year.
the Berliner Philharmoniker.
Yeah. There are 2 new ones that he did that have like, more recent versions of how he performs some of these tracks. So if you want to go out and form your own playlists, that's where you can start off.
Like, if you can't immediately see John Williams, like, it's a good, like, kind of gauger to see, like, what it's like, or hear what it's like, at least.
So what was not played that you would have liked to have heard, Alexis?
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, come on.
Iconic.
Yeah.
A lot of, like, that's the thing about John Williams, is that a lot of his pieces are iconic. It's kind of hard to pick. For me personally, and this is just for me, The Flight to Neverland.
It's so good.
It would have been
I was
great.
hearing it today. It was so good. Yeah. Superman. The Superman one, yeah.
And recently, I don't know if you talked about it on the podcast or not, but you recently
We did.
dived into the Donner Superman.
My favorite part of the movies was, or the movie, shall we say, the first one, because Williams didn't come back for the second one, but for the first one was the music. The music elevates the movie so much so. But I also, of course, enjoyed the actors in the movie itself. I'm trying to think, like, what was your guys' favorite piece that was played?
The Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah.
But you know which one was really good? The Fiddler on the Roof one.
Oh my God!
Are you joking?
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
As much as I was sobbing for I was sobbing for
All of
most of it.
You were.
But, like, there's something magical, no pun intended, about hearing, like, the opening bars of Hedwig's theme and live, and just that whole it's just that song in particular takes you onto a whole entire Harry Potter adventure itself, that I was just like, this is other than the Olympic theme that he played, this is the way to open up your concert.
That one was really good too.
It was, yeah. And look, I think I heard it somewhere before, but I don't watch sports.
I don't either.
And I sure as hell don't watch the Olympics. So I didn't really know too much of the music. I just knew that John Williams wrote it at some point. Wow.
Yeah.
That is such an amazing way to open this show. And it is an amazing theme, and I expect nothing less from the likes of John Williams. That was definitely deserving of his name.
He typically opens with that piece, but it was so good to see people recognize some of the athletes.
I know,
that have come,
fun.
like Michael Phelps, Shaun
Michael
White.
Phelps, everybody was like, do I clap? Do I not clap?
Yeah, but Simone Biles, the way that they applauded her, was really nice, especially because she had a hell of a year.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, a year or 3.
I mean, some of us died.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, it was it was so cathartic. It was just a whole entire adventure all in itself, just hearing all that stuff. And by the way, from where we were sitting, the fucking audio was terrific. Holy shit.
it might be one of these shows that there may not even be a bad seat in the house, but we were directly in the center of it.
I did my research on the bowl before we got it, and apparently our section has the best audio.
Well, we won. We certainly seem to win. Yeah. All in all, that was a great, wonderful experience. And of course, what have I been doing? I've been listening to John Williams music after the concert, as I think one would after having actually gone to a concert. Now, what did we think of the Academy Museum?
Moreno?
I loved it. It was really good. It was a lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
When we first started and we go into that room with Mount Rushmore, I was like, oh no, is this what it's gonna be? And then we kept going, and the rooms are huge. They're massive. And
You can get lost in them.
And yeah, and just the collection that they have, I mean, amazing. I feel like we all got separated at one point. We were like, oh my god, look at this, look at this, look at that, oh my god.
Literally, I lost you guys. Hey, where did they? Who cares? I'll keep moving. I'll find them eventually. We were all just looking, left and right and seeing all the different things, the costumes, the art on the wall. For me, I think the one that I just kept getting wow about what I was seeing was the Wizard of Oz stuff.
Yeah.
God damn, just the watching. I mean the exhibit of seeing the slippers, and then in the background you have Dorothy and friends approaching Emerald City, right? Is that where it was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then of course you have that juxtapose on the other side. You have basically this really blown up image of the set of, what's it called? Munchkin
Land.
Munchkin Land.
Yeah.
But you also see the set itself and how massive that set was and how intricate it was. And then off on the side or behind it, in front of it actually, it's playing clips from Munchkin Land, and it just So good. So good. And I think the same could be said just about with most things in that museum. They truly had some beautiful pieces in their collection. And I just kept like walking and like seeing new things that were just beautiful. I mean, Alexis and I saw, I believe it was the script of The Wizard of Oz, and it was signed by the cast members.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, what the fuck? Like, literally? And then we also passed by, like, storyboard art of Greece, which made her cry.
Yes. Well, I had never seen, like, props from the movie before. Like, even, I used to watch a lot of, like, documentaries and stuff about movie props. And there's never been anything for Greece. That's like the first time that I ever see anything. So I was like, what the fuck? So that was very exciting.
Yeah. That was really...
the most I think I've gotten is like the jackets. But like that I've never seen anything else.
You've seen the jackets?
Not like in person, but like other people fighting.
Oh, talking about yeah, it's weird because like the thing is that like with the exception of like Disney who like and Warner Brothers who like extensively archive their shit, a lot of studios never archived.
Well, the what's it called? The Wizard of Oz is one of them that a lot of the pieces in the movie, I mean, we saw a good portion of it, but when you have the whole movie in, like, together, they have so many props and so many costumes, just endless amount of things, and they lost most of them.
I'm surprised they still had Dorothy's outfit.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's incredible. Oh, the picture of Judy Garland in studio recording Somewhere Over the Rainbow. That was beautiful in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like it like that whole exhibit. Oh, the ruby slippers, of course. Like that was absolutely fantastic. I love the fact that there's only 4 remaining in existence. And we just so happen to be seeing the one of the ones. Yeah, like that was so cool. Oh, Quentin Tarantino's notes for Pulp Fiction was cool to see. We started off looking at like the costumes, like before we got into that stuff. I love seeing like Russell Crowe's outfit from The Gladiator. I love seeing Awkwafina's outfit from Crazy Rich Asians. It's also what's cool is that because they make molds or like mannequins to fit the actor, like to the exact actor specifications, it's interesting to see how big these actors are, like in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, Humphrey Bogart, he was small.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
Jeffrey Bridges, a lot shorter than I was expecting he'd be. Taron Egerton, he's a munchkin, no pun intended.
Yeah.
No pun intended, So it's just like it's cool seeing all that. Oh, the cast molding of a Clark Gable's face.
Oh yeah, that
cool
was so cool.
It's like you're actually seeing him, you know? Which is like that, like all that shit is fucking awesome. Oh, the wigs and the fake mustaches Eddie Murphy would wear for Dolomite Is My Name. Like
that was really cool too. Like they have like recent movies too.
Yeah, it's not just like historical, stuff like that. It's like explored all spectrums of cinema, not just like, oh, we're just looking at the glory days, it like that's cool, that's absolutely fantastic. What else? Oh, there was a whole like bit of Spike Lee, a highlight of Spike Lee's work, which is cool. I like seeing that. His Oscars, it was cool seeing like when he won an Oscar for his student film and his most recent Oscar for Black Klansman. Like just like to see like the spectrum of a career, of a whole ass career is cool to see. I don't know. What else did you guys see that was cool?
I mean, a lot of things. Honestly, everything. Seeing one of the original like drawings of what the Warner Brothers logo would look like. Like, shut up. That was there. Are you kidding me? Even like just the art pieces they had on display for things like Sleeping Beauty or Up, or the wonderful wood carvings they had of like Bugs Bunny or the Seven Dwarves or Inside Out, or I believe also, was it the Corpse Bride movie? Or was it from...
There was Nightmare Before Christmas in there.
Frankenweenie.
Frankenweenie. Sorry,
Yeah.
Frankenweenie. I got it mixed up there. That was a wonderful area.
It's a senior moment.
Yes. There was a wonderful area there. And of course, like the life-size like figures of like, you had the astronaut from 2001, R2, 3PO, the xenomorph head, Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
And then there was like this like this room where like they were playing like a bunch of alien movies.
I like that they literally showed every aspect of making a movie.
Yes.
Costumes, music, sound,
Special effects.
stage design, special effects, like literally everything and anything that goes into making a movie. You saw it on there.
There were some sound rooms we went into to like see some clips of like,
Kylo Ren's bedroom.
Also, Kyle and I had the chance to hold an Oscar in our hands.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Oscar experience. And that was something, Kyle.
It's so unfortunate that that audio is not played.
It really is.
Video.
Considering what we paid for it, I think like I know they have their thing where it's like the video really is like, I don't know, 15 seconds, but for us in the video, it's like more like, I don't know, 5 to 8 seconds. I know that there's a lot of people that want to do it and it's faster to do it that way, but like considering that you are paying for the experience on top of, everything else, you would think that you would be able to like do a speech in a way, and like as if it was the actual thing, but
yeah. However, I did get to say it, even though that it was not played. I got to do my favorite Oscar speech of all time, which is Joe Pesci literally saying, "It was my privilege, thank you," and leaving and leaving the and leaving the stage. It was great. It was a brightly lit room. But I guess that's how it would be, like if you were recording broadcasts and shit like that. But yeah, it's a lot lighter than I was expecting, the Oscar itself.
I mean, considering how much like they say like it's heavier than what people think it is, well, it wasn't that heavy.
Yeah.
So that was a great experience there. We got to see basically what amounts to, the Las Vegas Strip equivalent to Hollywood. Saw a lot of great places. Saw Beverly Hills houses. Felt, very much like
very poor
in comparison to that. We saw Rodeo Drive. We went to downtown Disney, and we got like smothered in crowds.
Hot.
That shit was.
It was hot.
It was fucking night and it was hot. And it was like, man, imagine being at Disneyland that day. That must have not been fun.
I mean, Moreno said it herself. I mean, just like you feel the death in the air of just everybody dying from a day at Disney. I don't know who's that in Moreno or you, Alexis.
One of us said it, but it's like we were there and we had a good time. Because we were just there for like a brief moment. But like you can tell the people who were there at that time were like tired.
Just done.
They were very much done. But altogether, it was just a wonderful experience. And if I do say so myself, well needed. I enjoyed my time.
Yeah.
And I'd do it again. All of it.
I'd do it again too. Same time next year, guys?
No.
We gotta do Danny Elfman.
I would prefer a time where it's not so warm.
He usually is
'Cause
there
the
in
heat-
October, so.
Yeah, the heat did get a little bit in the way. Not too much, but it was a bit like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay. Oh, Hans Zimmer. Would you guys like to do Hans Zimmer as well?
I mean, yeah, we can get
Plays
into
the
that
Lion
later. I
King?
mean, probably.
He always plays the Lion King. Yeah. Alexis, are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many things to do, and like we just cruised by it, but just to like actually physically walk down what's it called? Hollywood Boulevard. I think that would be a quite the treat. So I would like to
Was
do
that really your
if we-
first time going?
Alexis?
Going where?
Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was pretty.
That's it.
Maybe next time we can get off and walk through it and go to the Funko store.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. So going to the Funko store and seeing what's in there, because they're supposed to have like a big selection, and I've seen like images from it, so that would be something I would want to do.
You don't want to like see the
And then maybe Al Capitan, and then the Chinese theater and all that stuff, and and just browse at all the different like Hollywood stars. Like I was there. Evidently, there was like last year on the way back from Universal Studios. I think I did like stop by and like near there, because there was like a Shake Shack that was like right close to that area, and I noticed there were Hollywood stars, and then we left. So that was that.
Yeah.
But it was nice.
Also, there's like the handprints. That is pretty cool. Yeah. All in all, great time. I really needed this. Because just like the past summer, my mental health has not been the greatest. So it was just nice. It was nice warming. It was nice getting like
Warm. Oh, he said
It was nice
warm.
getting warm. No, like embraced by everything like film related with people I love. So I think that really like I don't know. I really needed this, and it was nice to experience it with you guys.
Yeah, it was always nice to go on trips with you guys, and yeah, we had AC.
We had AC.
AC. I think that helps a lot, So we did it. Yay. Before we go, Alexis, should we discuss House of the Dragon?
Yes. Of course. Always.
Kyle, if you'd like, you can go now. Although, technically speaking, did you watch this episode with us, or were you on your phone most of the time?
It was half and half, a good portion, because like I wouldn't know what's going on in the episode, so I was just like, I just like noticed things here and there, like the king getting pissed off with everybody trying to get like, trying to hook up with his daughter. That like I noticed that the battle at the end with Matt Smith, I noticed, and stuff like that. But yeah, I will get into House of Dragons. I promise you guys.
Oh, don't worry, we'll hold you to that.
I know you guys will. I know you guys will. Shit. I promise you. I I'd watch House of Dragons. Excuse me. Fake news.
Oh God.
Oh, but yeah. Oh, by the way, sidestep before you guys, before I leave, the Grove is a gorgeous mall.
Didn't I tell you I'm moving in next week?
Oh no! Congratulations.
Yep, I just got a little suite there somewhere. I had to do some, backroom deals to get a particular spot there. Some favors I wasn't so
Bring
thrilled
back Steve
to
Jobs
do.
to ask permission.
Yeah, right. No, another place I'd never been to, the Grove in LA. It came off like a main street from Disneyland in a way. You had like actual automobiles, like literally on like old school automobiles. Yeah.
Like that.
Live entertainment. It was like, this is a mall?
Yeah.
It's a little bit more than a mall to me. It's like more like, I mean, this is what you LA people call malls. Like, this is not what I call a mall.
Yeah.
Certainly not outdoors. So, yeah, I think we definitely like got a little bit spoiled. Like, with like, holy shit, people live their lives like this? Damn.
And we went to the best restaurant that LA has to offer, the Cheesecake Factory. To be fair, it was really good.
It was.
Yeah. It was even better after we walked half an hour to get there.
And the heat.
And
no,
other things.
let's not.
That's why I said and other things.
Yeah.
Of the other things, it was probably the best.
Okay. So, will you be leaving us, Kyle, or are you going to stick around?
All right. Without further ado, I'm Kyle Lira. Here's Alexis Soto with the weather.
So anyway, look. I mean, look. This show is really, really good. And this most recent episode took place literally 3 years. I think it's guessed about to be 3 years after the previous one. Just like, damn, these time jumps are even more extreme than the Crown's time jumps.
Yeah.
We're in a single season, but damn, we really are skipping through time. No sooner did we see Rhaenyra just like storm out with outrage over the idea that her father would marry her best friend. But here we are 3 years later, and not only are they married, but they had a kid, and that kid's birthday, and now they're 2 years old. He's 2 years old. And the king's having this party in the Kingwoods, going on a hunt. All the houses were there, or most of the houses were there. It's a big thing. And, the king is happy in a way, but he's also kind of miserable because he sees that Rhaenyra is just pushing him further and further away. He doesn't seem to quite understand yet that, maybe marrying her best friend wasn't the best way to get closer to her. And Rhaenyra is decidedly just like over it. Like, she in her headspace, as we see in the episode, is just like has come to the realization that she's been played. At least that's how she feels. Because everyone around her just like keeps like reiterating, you're heir now. You're not going to be heir when it really matters, because look, your dad had a boy, and because he has a penis and you don't, his life matters more than yours. And so you can imagine how much that's just weighing on her, to say nothing, of course, like the complete levels of devastation her relationships with her father and her best friend have been left with as a result of this unforeseen and unexpected marriage. And so this episode is just like her, venting her frustrations when prompted, of course. And the king also is found in a place where he is doing a lot of soul searching, coming to his own conclusions, and also hilariously taking it out on his, like, not his staff, but also his advisors. Paddy Constantine, the actor that played the king, was really good in this episode. It was so
Honestly,
good.
Listen, say whatever you want about this king, but the actor, oh my god, killing it. Like, ooh,
so good.
You love him, but you hate him, but you're just like, you want to shake him and be like, what are you doing?
It's like, come to your senses. Like, you don't hate him. It's like, oh, he's a bad person. Like, he's a good guy. Yeah. But he's just like, he can't help but make decisions that are, ill-conceived. And I feel like what you see him try to like make the best decisions, and he tries to operate in a way with a moral compass while trying to reconcile that with being like, the warden of the land. But as we've seen with, the example with Ned Stark in the first season of Game of Thrones, sometimes that just can't be. And to me, there were some things, since we're on that topic with him, let's just go with him already here. It wasn't, I guess, not everybody was in agreement with like, why, what was the why for, when he declared Rhaenyra his heir. Like, a lot of people were like, well, he's just doing it now because there's nobody else, and that he doesn't really mean it when like he was like talking to her. So much so that, Rhaenyra herself came to the conclusion that that's what happened because she felt utterly backstabbed by this whole notion of like a new family, and this was just all just a fucking lie to her. And throughout the course of the episode, I think what was made clear is that for the most part, it has crossed his mind. He's not only thinking about it internally, but he even says it out loud, I believe to his wife, Allison, that he feels bad about the idea that his son can't be king and that it would make all the lords happy and it's just the way that things would be done. But he feels more bad about the idea of like, Rhaenyra being pushed aside and her being miserable. And then throughout the course of the episode, you come to the realization that no, he actually meant it. And in some really hilarious interactions, particularly with one of the Lannisters, I love this scene when like he comes up to her and basically like asks for his daughter's hand and like suggests that, oh, she's going to marry me and it will make up for her loss of station. And I love how the king responds like, what loss of station? and Lannister kid's like, what? Oh, you mean, like once like, Aegon, the second of his name, will be proclaimed the heir. And the king's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not happening. And the Lannister guy looks so confused. Like, what? Like, wait, what? I'm not catching this right. And then the king takes it even further. It's like, did all the lords, not mean their word when they, declared like their loyalty to the heir Rhaenyra? Because if they didn't, that would be rebellion.
Yeah.
Are you saying that there's a rebellion going on? And he was like freaking the shit out. I love that scene. But then it shows you, it's like, oh no, he meant it. Like he wants her to be on the throne. But like him being the person that he is and trying to please everybody, trying to find a way to please everybody, he can't help but like hear out the advice by a lot of the lords who, of course, act on bad faith. And that's why a lot of where his conflict comes from is like, he can't often tell what the right thing to do is. And so he's kind of, in that way, haunted by it. How did you read those moments, Alexis? And then overall him in this episode?
I agree with everything that you said. And I think it's so like interesting in this episode because when you're king, you can't have those doubts. Whatever you say, whatever comes out of your mouth has to be what you fully believe and what you fully intend. And by him saying, by trying to please everybody, I pleased no one, the fact that he's even trying to please everybody like, that's just another example of the many that we already have of just how much he is not meant to be king.
He's not suited for this role,
yes.
clearly.
Yes, and it's so, like, complex with him because he's a good person. Like, he's done shitty things. But, like, in the end, like, deep down, he wants to do what's right and what's, you know, the best for everybody. But he can't do that. And, it's interesting to see him in the role as king. Like, in the setting of, you know, where we're at the hunt or whatever. Where he's literally drinking his, like, sorrows away. He's like, fuck this. Like, I don't know
He's
what
doing
to
his
do.
best Cersei impression.
Yes.
And just drinking all the wine that there is.
Yes. And the conversation that he has with, the Lannister dude is funny because even, I think it was that same conversation where, he tells the Lannister dude tells Viserys, we can give her, like, more dragons for to strengthen the Targaryen family and, like, this and that. And he fully is like, do you really think that you could do that for us? Do you not think that we're good enough without you? It's fine. We don't need you. And he also reacts very like, oh shit, like, I misspoke. You know, because he has to keep this face of, like, that everything's fine, everything is perfect, you know, there's nothing to worry about, when in actuality, like, it's not. I don't know if you noticed, but his fingers are gone.
I didn't notice it at all because while watching it, because I was watching it at a distance. So like, we were watching it at our hotel in LA, and so off my laptop.
Yeah,
so
like,
not
he's
the biggest
literally
screen.
dying.
So like, I didn't notice it until, like, I saw a review of it, and I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't see that. 2 of his fingers are gone.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, like, he's literally dying. And they're the only Targaryens left. He named his daughter Heir, which nobody is happy about. And he has to keep this face of, like, no, we're fine. This is what's gonna happen. If you guys don't agree with it, then you guys are gonna die, basically. So he was amazing in this episode. He was so good. And then also, like, another aspect to it of him not being good for this role is the fact that he has all these people coming towards him to say, to like, he lets other people advise him to the point where he's just like, he doesn't know what to do. You know, like, he takes what everybody is taking into consideration, and he just wants to make everybody happy, but he doesn't know how to do that. And in the end, he doesn't make anybody happy. And, you know, we have Otto suggesting.
Well, before you get there, you can tell, though, because that's a whole different thing. We'll get there. But, like, you can tell that a lot of, like, the strained relationship, his overall frustration with the job, and then, you know, the wine helping here, that it got to a point where he didn't give a shit what came out of his mouth. He was just saying it like it is. And I loved how, because that's the strongest he's been, when, like, that's the most definitive he's been. And you can tell that caught people off guard. And in some instances, it scared the shit out of them. And so they just, like, they just backed away. If only he could be more like that.
Yeah. That's
the issue. And just be more stern and more definitive. Like, if you were a strong king, he would, like, say, just wave your dick around. I'm the king. I don't know what you think you are, but I say how this goes. And if you don't agree, you're dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it should be. And I have dragons, bitch. What do you have?
Well, he doesn't. But
the family has. The family has dragons. The kingdom has dragons. Like, we can use those. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm the king. Like, he has it within in the power of his office to do that. He just feels so beholden and kneecapped by these advisors, which include Otto Hightower, which suggests something, again, 3 episodes in every episode, something is suggested or implied that is so gross and makes your skin crawl that just tops itself. And so you were saying with what he suggests, oh my God, the reaction was so good.
It was... I'm not going to say it's a perfect scene because what was happening is so disgusting, but oh my God. So we have, like, another side to it is we have the Hightowers, which Otto Hightower is the hand of the king. I don't know if you noticed, but and
his daughter's the new queen.
Yes, his daughter is Alicent, the new queen. And then I don't know if you kind of got that in the beginning that he was talking to his brother.
Otto was talking to his brother?
Yes, so in the beginning of the episode, we see Otto talking to another guy, and that guy was his brother, and he's telling him basically what he was doing to Alicent in the first 2 episodes, telling her, like, you need to get closer to the king, or suggesting to get closer to the king, this and that, which ended up leading to them getting married, which was kind of his plan the whole time. We see that Otto himself is being manipulated by his brother because he's pressuring him to get the king to name Aegon the new heir. And so, you see his scheming throughout the episode. You have him telling Alicent, like, you need to, like, push the king to do this. You need to make him see reason, basically. And then another one of his little schemes was to suggest that he betroth his kids to each other, meaning Rhaenyra, who is at this time, I believe she's 17, and his 2-year-old son. But I gotta say,
again, like just think about that. The lad
that he says the line, very like, well, you know what you should do.
Very matter of fact.
Let me drop some wisdom on you. Very sure of himself, and that line of like, it might like, you might agree with it more, considering what the Targaryens are known for, which is having sister wives and marrying each other. And
the king's reaction, man.
Oh my God, he literally starts cracking up.
I wonder, was that in the script, or did Penny Constantine just like
not
break character? It looked as if he broke character for a second there, because that reaction was glorious.
It was amazing. It was such... Oh my God. It was so good. And creepy. It's all weirdness into a ball that I loved watching.
Jesus, like at that point, like, what? But that's the perfect response. You just gotta laugh at that.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's like
really
peak of the nonsense that the king was getting throughout the whole time. We had the Lannisters trying to get the approval by the king. You had, literally every guy in there was trying to get at Rhaenyra.
The Lannister guy was like feeling her up.
I know,
all that was like really gross.
No.
Like, geez.
Yes. And
he was like saying like, man, if you just like get on my dick, all these things will like be in you. Like, look what I can do with you. Just suck me off. Like, literally, that's what he was saying.
And then it's, what's it called? We also get that conversation with Alicent, who, she came in clutch in this episode.
Didn't she?
I
Right?
mean-
Like the thing is, like, we didn't see much of her in the beginning, but toward the end. And the thing is, like,
standout character.
good on her to not be played by her dad.
Yeah, and that's
Either, yeah.
I mean, I know a little bit more of what happens later on. So right now, at this point in time,
Alexis Moreno is the queen of the house of spoilers. So of course she knows it's
I'm
gonna
not gonna
happen.
spoil it, but what's it called? Like the way that we see how like her relationship with Viserys and her relationship with Rhaenyra, like obviously with Rhaenyra, you know, we meet Rhaenyra in this episode playing her sad girl playlist in the beginning, reading her book. And that whole exchange that they had in that bit where she's like, oh, the princess commands you to stay, and then she pulls out her queen card. And it's just like, it's so awkward. And it's so like, not cringy in a bad way, but cringy in like a, oh shit, like, oh no. And then, I don't know, I'm excited to see what comes of her, because in the first 2 episodes, like I said, we see Alicent being manipulated by her dad. And in this one, you know, her dad is telling her to do all these things, and she's just kind of like shrugging it off a little bit. I don't know if you got that from that line, what mother doesn't want to see her son be king. You know, it's kind of like her being like, oh yeah, we'll see about that, I guess. And I do think that she thinks Rhaenyra will be a good queen, and you know, she'll be like the one that ends up in the throne in the end, at least in this point in time.
Yeah, for the moment, she's definitely proving her worth. And I'm just happy the show is not treating her as just like a mouthpiece for Otto.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like you do see in the moment that she had with Viserys about like, and I love the way that she put it about like what was happening in the Stepstones. Like from her perspective, or she's like, well, what's better for the realm? If this Crab King, you know, is alive or dead? And the way that she put it was a pretty easy choice, considering, of course, the idea that this has been going on for 3 fucking years. And imagine that, 3 fucking years, Daemon has been, like, helping out Corlys and the Valyrians stomp these people 3 fucking years. He's been, like, trying to stomp them out. And they, even with dragons, and that still didn't do the job. But what Alicent does, you know, was moves the needle. And, you know, we hear the note that was written to Daemon. And his brother was being, like, you know, from the heart and gracious. So, of course, as what any rational person would do in reaction to that, Daemon all but nearly murders the messenger in a fit of rage that is, you know, befitting of Kylo Ren. And then, in the most fuck you, I'm doing it myself attitude ever, gets on a boat, rows himself over to the island, or the Stepstones, and then just goes at them.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, it lit a fire, and it's like, you know what? No, this is not happening. We're getting this shit done right now, because I'll be damned. It's like what Viserys says earlier in the episode. Like, he would sooner die than accept help from his brother, and that's the calculus Daemon made. It's like, either I'm gonna win,
bitch in the land.
Either I'm gonna win or I'm gonna die. But I am not gonna have his help. So it's now or never.
Yeah, no, the end battle. Although I know a lot of people were complaining because they really like pumped up the crab feeder footage before the show started. Everybody thought he was gonna be the big bad. But I honestly don't care. What
I don't
we got
care about
from
him.
Damon,
He's not a character. He's just there. Yeah.
Oh, what we got from him was so... He literally said not a single peep came out of his mouth. And are you joking? I mean, his reaction to the letter was it's so funny. And he literally, legit was like, if I die, I die. But you're not getting credit for the work that I've been putting in for the past 3 years? Because he didn't even take his dragon. At all. He just... And this is, a little minor complaint. Because we even talked about it after the episode. If it was planned.
Yeah.
And it was not. At least that we know of.
I believe we had decided on the idea that Damon just fucking went for it, and that in and of itself inspired his men and the Valerians just like, fuck it, let's just go for it too. And they did. And you see, I believe, I forget the name, but Corlys' son, who will be becoming a major player in the show going forward, but you see him and his dragon join the fight, which was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great set piece. It was a great action set piece. Definitely, I would say, worthy of the Game of Thrones name.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was so good.
It was
the way that it ended, he fucking cut that Crab King in half.
Yeah.
You see his guts all out there, all disgusting. It's like shit.
Yeah, it was so good. And then we have Rhaenyra's storyline in this episode, which was just kind of intense, emotionally.
Yeah.
How we said in the beginning, we have everybody doubting that she'll become queen. There was this line that Otto Hightower said in the beginning when they got to the woods, and he presented Aegon as Aegon II, which was that's a huge deal and a huge insult to Rhaenyra, because you don't get titles like that unless you're named heir or you're king.
Yeah.
And so I can only imagine her being like, what the fuck? All right. And then that line also that she says, nobody's here for me. Yeah. You could feel it with her. And then the whole thing with the stag also, I found that very interesting. And just the way that they showed the 3 Targaryens to separate but visually together. We we have the whole thing with the stags with Viserys and Rhaenyra, and that was I even turned to you when we were watching it, what the fuck, this asshole. When Otto was oh, the white stag is supposed to represent the true not a king, but just somebody who is pure, somebody who deserves to have this power or whatever. And they were hunting it for Aegon. And that, I think, stuck with the king, that if they find this, because he also says in the episode, I was meant to be a dreamer, which I kind of mentioned in the last episode, the kind of how the Starks, they have wolf dreams, the Targaryens have dragon dreams, and they truly believe in that because they believe that they have some type of higher power type of thing. And so Viserys thinks that he is this person, which is why he doesn't have a dragon also. And he completely doubts his ability to be doing that. He comes to question am I actually a dreamer, or am I just making shit up, or, like, should I not be doing the things that I'm doing, or am I doing the correct things? Like, he just fully is so confused by everything. And the whole thing with the stag, I think, stayed with him. And then when they actually found the stag and it wasn't the white one, you could kind of see a little bit of relief in him, just being like, okay, like, I think I made the right choice.
Yes, yeah.
And
of course, it maybe even is further doubled down when the white stag presents itself to Rhaenyra later on.
Yeah, and that is a whole other, like, thing with her, because she hates, she, in the beginning of the show, you see that she's, like, not interested in any of this. Like, she's just like, I want to eat cake. But when they give her the title of heir, she knows that she's capable of doing it, and she knows that she could be good, but she just has no support whatsoever. Which is the only thing that she's missing. And when she sees a stag, she fully understands, like, I know that I can do this. I just need kind of other people to believe in it also, because, like, what the fuck is happening?
Basically.
Yeah.
I love the interaction that Viserys and Rhaenyra had at the end, which is where, first it begins with Viserys telling Rhaenyra that, yeah, it's been long enough, I'm going to send support over to Daemon at the Stepstones, and then it gets over to talking about, the business with the heir. Or actually the business with, like, his interest in seeing Rhaenyra find somebody to marry. Not just because he wants to see her happy, as he said earlier, but now he adds in more information with, like, I want you to start multiplying. I want you to get heirs, have a family, to strengthen your claim as heir to the crown, basically, in a way. That way it would be harder for it to be ripped away from you. That and at that point, Rhaenyra kind of begins to realize, oh shit, yeah, that does kind of make sense. And then, even more to the point, Viserys was like, and it's your choice. You can pick whoever you want.
Also, an idea by Alicent.
That's true, yes. That's also very true. So, Alicent, the secret MVP of this episode, basically. And that, 1-2 punch really does win her over. And then the honesty that comes from Viserys when it's like, one time he wavered on his decision to pick you, but I don't any longer, I believe is what he said, right? Great moment. An episode filled with amazing moments. This is great. This is a great episode, great show. Oh my god, we're getting a new one in 2 days. Yay. Nah, I loved it. It was great.
I'm so happy to be back in this world.
Yes.
I love it.
It feels new again.
It does. It feels good to be excited about something.
It's like Tony Stark in Iron Man 2. It feels good to be back. Basically.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know how much you want to speculate about things where they could go, but I feel like you already know where things are gonna go. So it's like
I have a few ideas, but I don't know if I should say it. Because it could be what I'm thinking. It could not be what I'm thinking. Like I said, I've never read the books. So a lot of this is just kind of piecing everything together from the different people that I listen to and different videos that I've seen.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess I could say it and then we'll see if it's true or not. But I don't know if you want to get spoiled either.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's like it's so hard to tell also when how far in time we're gonna skip now.
I think they said
with episode 4.
a year. I think.
Interesting. Okay. Oh. You know what? I don't care. Will, this show is so good. I'm willing to see how that's gonna unfold. But yeah. Great talk. Great episode. I want to go ahead and call it right now. We're at 3 hours, I think. So maybe it's time to get out of here. But as always, to remind our audience that you can listen to our podcasts every single Sunday. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, as well as, of course, all of the other shows that we do, which include Turn to Page, Fantasy Fair. What was it called? Game Quest?
Quest Center.
Quests. Oh, okay. Quest Center as well, with all of our wonderful talent here on Red Spotlight. And thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.